D'accord. Bénéficiant,
Oui, allez-y.
Bénéficiant de l'appui des plus hautes autorités ivoiriennes, le comité national continue de réaliser et mener de nombreuses activités en rapport avec les 6 axes de sa stratégie.
So the committee is being supported by the most important institutions in the Ivory Coast. And thanks to this support, the committee is able to unfold the 6 pillars of its strategy.
Les 6 piliers de la stratégie nationale de mise en œuvre de la ZLECAf s'articulent autour des actions suivantes. Premier, une meilleure appropriation du contenu de l'accord par tous les secteurs.
So the 6 pillars are as follows. The first one is ownership of the content of the agreement by the people and the businesses.
La rationalisation du dispositif institutionnel et réglementaire.
So the setting up of the legal and regulatory framework.
Le renforcement du cadre de référence des stratégies publiques et l'amélioration de la compétitivité des filières.
So the improvement of the framework of public policies and the improvement of et l'amélioration de
des compétitivités des filières.
Okay. And the improvement of the competitivity of the various sectors of the economy.
Le développement et la mise en œuvre de stratégies sectorielles commerciales offensives.
The development and implementation of commercial trade strategies, offensive commercial trade strategies.
La mise à niveau des producteurs et des produits.
So the upgrade of the skills of the businesses, the producers, and the products.
La promotion de la participation des femmes dans le commerce.
Advocating for the participation of women in businesses and trade.
Distingués invités, mesdames et messieurs, je saisis cette occasion pour remercier les organisateurs et partenaires de cette première édition de Business Connect, événement qui s'inscrit dans le but de soutenir la Côte d'Ivoire et l'Afrique dans son élan exemplaire pour la mise en œuvre de l'accord.
So, dear participants, thank you for your participation in the first edition of Business Connect, which aims to support the effort of Côte d'Ivoire and Africa in the implementation of the Afcfta.
Cet événement nous rappelle notre engagement en tant qu'acteur du secteur privé.
This event, sorry,
allez-y. Allez-y.
This event is a reminder of our commitment toward the private sector.
En effet, il est important pour nous de nous impliquer dans la mise en œuvre de l'accord afin de tirer profit des opportunités et mécanismes qu'offre la ZLECAf au niveau national et continental.
So it is important for the private sector to engage in the implementation of the Afcfta to better benefit from the agreement.
Confiante quant à votre implication dans la réussite de cette activité, je crois que cette plateforme d'échange sera le théâtre de fructueux échanges et de réflexions visant un meilleur avenir pour le secteur privé africain, performant et résilient sur toutes les formes.
So I trust that this first edition will be fructuous and that will highlight a better future for the private sector in Africa.
Je voudrais conclure mes propos en exprimant mes vœux les meilleurs pour un événement réussi avec une participation franche, active et productive de tous les participants.
No, I would like to conclude by wishing you the best and also a great participation in this event and also for future events.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you. Madame Fofana, je vous remercie. Et c'est vrai qu'il y a des personnes qui continuent à arriver pendant votre allocution. Donc, je vais juste rappeler qui vous êtes, parce que je pense qu'il y a pas mal de personnes qui ne sont même pas d'Afrique de l'Ouest. So I know that a lot of people joined while Mrs. Fofana was giving a speech. So I want to remind everyone that Mrs. Fatoumata Fofana is the Executive General Secretariat for Afcfta in Côte d'Ivoire. And Mrs. Fofana kindly accepted to open the first edition of Business Connect 2035. And we are very grateful for your presence and for your speech, and also for officially launching an event that hopefully next year will be in person.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope so.
Thank you very much.
And I wish you all good luck, and we expect a lot from this type of intervention that is very needed at the private sector level, and for organizations like yours to get involved, because we also have at the continental level negotiations that are ongoing on the intellectual property rights, and also there is an organ of conflict resolution also at the Afcfta level. So thank you very much for setting up the example for all the rest of the organization in your field, and also amongst private sectors organization. I thank you and wish you good luck.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Great. So thank you. So now, Emmanuel Bensa, are you here?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Great. Welcome, Emmanuel. So, Emmanuel, I wonder whether I invite everyone to be on camera if possible, if your network allows for you to be, the quality of your network allows for you to be on camera. So, Emmanuel, would you like to take it from here?
Okay. So I'm waiting for the next participants who will be able to speak. Do we yet have them?
The next one will be Rutendo, who is scheduled to speak in half an hour. And I think we started earlier than scheduled. So maybe to start with, you can say a bit about your organization. So I will let you introduce yourself, and then Toyin Dania, who is based in Ghana, and also Dorothy Tuma from Uganda.
All right, great. Okay, so I'll we'll follow through the introductions. Mm-hmm. Okay, so basically, good morning to everybody from Accra. My name is Emmanuel Bensa. I'm Deputy Executive Director of the African Continental Free Trade Area Policy Network, which is a membership-based organization seeking to help promote the African Continental Free Trade Area, but also, most importantly, everything around what we call on our end the Afcfta ecosystem, because what we're trying to do from our end, when we set up in 2019, which was before even Afcfta started, we were concerned with the fact that a lot of people had no idea what the African Continental Free Trade Area is about, and therefore they needed a lot of education and sensitization. A year or so down the line, we realized that sensitization it's not a one-day event. It's going to be a long-term process, and therefore we need to be doing other things alongside sensitization. Reason for which we at Afcfta Policy Network, we partnered with the International Organization for Migration in, at least a partnership was activated August 2021, last year. Basically, the idea was to ensure that we are promoting the freedom of movement protocol, because as a lot of you will know, the Afcfta agreement has probably been one of the fastest agreements in the world, even after the WTO and GATT, that has been signed and ratified by many member states. I think we now have 42 signatures and ratifications. Eritrea is the only country that has yet to sign or ratify. But it has moved very, very quickly, faster than a lot of international agreements, even at the WTO level. And so for Afcfta Policy Network, we believe that we are also operating in the spirit of what the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa wrote in one of their publications back in 2019, that the Afcfta is not just about intra-African trade, but it's also about dispelling the crisis of implementation around AU programming and also validating Agenda 2063. So in that, what that is saying for us is that if the African Continental Free Trade Area has been signed and ratified by so many member states, it suggests that there's some level of policy will for it to work. What it also means is that all the other AU processes that have slowed down, whether it's the AU financial institutions, whether it's the African Medicines Agency, which thankfully has received its 15 numbers since last year, whether it's any of the AU institutions that have not been working, has been penned down for many, many years, but has not garnered sufficient ratifications, it means that that can also work. So we need to build the momentum. We need to use the momentum around Afcfta and then use that to whip up sentiments and policy around other AU agencies, because Afcfta, at the end of the day, is not just a one-day event. It is part of the process of the Abuja Treaty, which, and also most importantly, the African Continental Free Trade is a flagship project of Agenda 2063, just one of the 14 flagship projects. Freedom of movement, the African passport, is also another flagship project. So there are so many flagship projects of Agenda 2063 and the AU processes itself and institutions that we need to work hard on, and not leave the Afcfta process, be spoiling it like a newborn baby, because that is the new talk in town. We need to use the momentum around Afcfta and say, look, if we can get Afcfta an interest in Afcfta the way we have gotten so far, let us also use that same interest to make sure that we get the whole of the AU to work. A lot of you will know that the AU turns 20 in July. The African Union itself turns 20 in July. It's a lot of time for reflection on where Afcfta has come from, where it's going, and how do we hold it accountable? So for organizations like us who are independent NGOs / policy / think tanks, for us, we believe that the way in which we can engage the process is to make sure that we keep the issue of Afcfta on the front burner, but also let people remember that even as we're talking freedom, movement of goods and peoples across the continent, those goods cannot move themselves. It is people who will move those goods, reasons for which we need to also put efforts into promoting the freedom of movement protocol. West Africa, as you will know, has been visa-free since 1979. In just a few days, ECOWAS will be celebrating 43 years of its existence. 48 years of its existence. And the better part of ECOWAS's existence has been visa-free, even with the number of conflicts and coups that ECOWAS has experienced. Never has ECOWAS decided that it was going to use that as an opportunity to remove the visa-free regime. We do know that in the Eurozone area, especially when they were experiencing a lot of these insecurity crises, a lot of them were looking at how the Schengen what they were going to do with the Schengen area, whether they would move certain countries from it and so on and so forth. So for us, we feel that after the time is right now for a lot of countries, for Africa to get things right, using the framework of Afcfta. So let's not botch it. Our organization is young, 3 years old. And by the way, we're also one of the co-founders of Business Connect 2035. So we are very happy that we are here. We hope that this will be the first of many editions, and that we also hope that a lot of the perspectives that we bring to bear today, no matter how small they may be, is better than nothing. And it's also an important way in which we can carry the conversation on after, because there are many different dimensions in which we can look at it. But my parting words would be that let us not forget that at the end of the day, the African Continental Free Trade Area, when we strip it down, it is just a free trade area. Free trade area. If a lot of you recall, in 2005, the free trade area of the Americas collapsed because there was insufficient participation.
Emmanuel, sorry, I'm going to ask you to wrap up so that Toyin and Dorothy can introduce themselves as well.
Sure. So let.
Okay, I think we lost you. I promise I haven't done anything to your network. Okay, Emmanuel, we can't hear you anymore. So in the interest of time, I'm going to move to Toyin.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Good morning, everybody. My name is Toyin Dania. I am currently the project manager at Meltwater Entrepreneurial School of Technology, MEST, in Accra. And I'm really looking forward to sharing some of our activities with you this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toyin. Dorothy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Miriam, and welcome, everyone. All protocol observed. My name is Dorothy Tuma. I'm from Uganda, and I'm a business consultant involved with micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. Very, very interested in seeing the Afcfta take off at a practical level. So as we talk about policy and all these other things, my main interest is how do we get trade to happen and start getting goods moving? Yes, with people moving them, but how do we get goods moving? So that's my area of expertise. I've been working with MSMEs for over 20 years, and that's the, shall I say, angle of interest that I bring to the table. It's a pleasure to be here and look forward to talking further later today.
Thank you. Thank you, Dorothy. And I also want to acknowledge, I see in the chat that Mrs. Hamza, Executive Director of the Tanzania Women Chamber of Commerce, is here. So, Mrs. Hamza, let me see if you would you like to say a word? Yes, she's okay. I'm asking you to unmute. It doesn't seem to. Can you hear us? Okay, so I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here. Okay, so we have Mrs. Hamza from Tanzania. I know that we also have some representative of Uganda here, Ghana, and also Côte d'Ivoire. And so thank you very much for the introduction. So we will be expecting Rutendo Windingwi from South Africa to highlight the main aspects of the agreement. So this part will last half an hour and will probably be a little bit conceptual. So bear with us, and it's also important that that we highlight the conceptual part of the agreement. And after that presentation, which will happen in 13 minutes now, and after his presentation, there will be a break for 15 minutes. And after the break, we will have more practical interactions. So the first one will be led by Toyin, who introduced herself, and it will be on logistics. And as you know, one of the key elements, I would say, key challenge for the effectiveness of this free trade zone would be logistics. So during Toyin presentation, we will see the challenges and the possible solutions. And really, please feel free to engage and to ask questions. We will ask you, I mean, before and after, or even during presentations, if you have questions. And after Toyin presentations with Dorothy, we're going to engage with the representative of women organizations who are there to really see how in practice we can identify, even if it's a need for a service or a product in Eastern or Southern or Western Africa, to see whether we can create the possibility of an actual trade between East and West Africa. And I also want to acknowledge that, so I see that in the chat. Thank you very much, Mr. Kopulonde, CEO of the Zambian International Trade and Investment Center, and which is a private consulting firm that promote and facilitate trade and investment in Zambia. So we thank you very much for being here with us. And if we have maybe 10 minutes before Rutendo presentation, would you like to maybe share your perspective from Zambia and maybe what you are you're trying to accomplish by your participation in this webinar? Mr. Kopulonde.
Miriam, thank you very, very much. It's a pleasure to participate in this webinar. I'm basically here to try and find out what is what our colleagues and friends are doing in the various countries on the African continent for the purpose of facilitating the actual implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. I'm a former member of parliament between 2016 and last year, 2021. I served on the economics committee, and I also was Zambia's representative to the Africa, Caribbean, Pacific and European Union Joint Parliamentary Assembly. I've worked for many years in the government prior to being a member of parliament. I was a presidential advisor to two former presidents of Zambia within State House, and supported two other presidents of Zambia in areas of policy formulation, focusing mainly on trade and investment issues and matters surrounding policy for economic development. I am a strong advocate of the African Continental Free Trade Area, and I've been called in several times by the African Union to speak on the benefits of the Afcfta in Turkey, in Cairo, and Nairobi. So yeah, that's what I am. Here in Zambia, we are a country that is right in the middle of the continent. We are also the headquarters of the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA. So we are well positioned in a strategic location to be to be a hub for intra-African trade. You can imagine we are surrounded by 8 countries. I don't think there's another country on the continent with so many neighbors like we do. And yeah, sitting right in the center, we are strategically positioned to be the gateway to and the hub for trade within the continent. And we see a great potential for the continent to become independent from external economic domination for as long as we trade amongst ourselves. Our trade statistics within Africa are quite discouraging if you compare to other regions in the world. But we need to do more on that. And for us to do that, really, we need to emphasize value addition to our local raw materials, because that's the only reason, in my view, that we don't trade with each other, because we don't produce consumer goods. We produce primary commodities. If you produce cotton, what am I going to do with it if I buy it from you? So if I produce cotton, I must turn that cotton into apparel, into clothing. For me, for it to make sense for you to buy it from me. I mean, otherwise, cotton, what are you going to do with it? So we end up sending this cotton to Europe, and then we import clothing at high cost. So these are the key values of Afcfta, and I think we need to support it as much as we can. So thanks very much for putting up this webinar, which will, I think, help to inform many of us on what is going on in the different countries and what we can do to help facilitate this process within countries individually. So thanks very much.
So thank you very much, Mr. Kopulande. And I'm also aware that there are some Francophone here from Côte d'Ivoire. So I'm going to switch to French for a few minutes. Donc, je constate qu'il y a des choses, qu'il y a des francophones, même si, juste par les noms, même si tout le monde ne s'est pas présenté. Alors, Monsieur Kopulande, qui s'est présenté tout de suite, est le directeur général d'une organisation qui s'appelle Zambian International Trade and Investment Center. Et c'est une organisation qui fait des consultations pour faciliter le commerce et l'investissement en Zambie. Et c'était également un ancien député au sein de l'Assemblée nationale de Zambie, et donc qui a pu intervenir notamment des activités de la ZCAF dans le cadre de son mandat comme député, et également au sein de l'Union africaine. Alors là, j'ai présenté le plan, en fait, le reste de la matinée tout à l'heure. Et comme j'ai dit, dans à peu près 5 minutes, il y a une personne d'Afrique du Sud qui va se connecter et qui va présenter de façon très conceptuelle le cadre général de la ZCAF. Ensuite, il y aura une pause de 15 minutes. Après la pause de 15 minutes, les conversations vont être beaucoup plus concrètes. Notamment, il y aura une conversation qui sera générée par Toyin, qui est du Ghana et qui est une experte en logistique, et qui va présenter les défis que la zone représente en termes de logistique et surtout les solutions qui sont disponibles. Et en deuxième partie, il y aura une autre conversation qui sera facilitée par Dorothy et moi-même, et qui va focaliser surtout sur le commerce entre les femmes. Et comme vous le savez, ici, il y a à la fois des femmes qui font du commerce, qui exportent en Afrique francophone, en Côte d'Ivoire, et également, comme j'ai dit tout à l'heure, il y a la représentante d'une organisation tanzanienne qui est la chambre de commerce des femmes tanzaniennes. leur directrice est avec nous aujourd'hui, c'est Madame Hamza. Et je vais également présenter d'autres personnes qui sont là en anglais parce que je ne les ai pas encore introduites et faire la traduction en français. Je vous remercie. Alors, so I'm going to switch to English to acknowledge the presence of the East African Women in Business platform and also the Ugandan Women Entrepreneurs Limited. I believe we also have the Africa Women Chamber of Commerce and the chair, Mrs. Lovin Kobizinki, I hope I pronounce your name correctly, is also with us today. So Mrs. Kobizinki, would you like to say a few words? So I'm going to translate into French while you're probably unmuting yourself. Donc, j'introduisais également d'autres organisations qui sont présentes parmi nous. Alors, nous avons la chambre africaine, non, la chambre de commerce des femmes africaines. Et Madame Loving Kobusingie est la présidente. Et nous avons également parmi nous la East African Women in Business Platform, donc la plateforme des femmes d'Afrique de l'Est qui sont dans le commerce, et également Ugandan Women Entrepreneurs, so les femmes entrepreneurs d'Ouganda, qui sont également parmi nous. Et je vous prie de patienter avec nous par rapport à la traduction. C'est vrai qu'on avait prévu initialement une traductrice, mais qui à la dernière minute n'a pas pu se joindre à nous. Merci. So over to you.
Thank you and good morning to everybody. Thanks so much, Madam Moderator, for inviting me to say hello to my colleagues on the line. I did not expect it. I was just a participant and it's such a surprise. I'm very excited to be on this platform. My name is Lovin Kovsinje and I also do business.
We can't hear you, and I think you're muted.
Lovin, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. I think now I'm loud. Thank you. Yeah, my name is Lovin Kovsinje. I'm from Uganda. I happen to also be a businesswoman. I own a fish processing company. We mainly do fish processing and value addition into various products. So we have been looking forward to having such opportunities of having Africa trading together. I am looking forward surely to hearing more from everyone on here today and learning much from their experiences. Thanks so much for giving me the floor and I wish you good deliberations. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So I can see that Rutendo Widingwi, and I also hope that I pronounce your surname correctly, Rutendo, has just joined us. Welcome.
Hi, Miriam. Good to see you, and well, and good morning, good afternoon to all your audience.
Thank you, Rutendo. And as I was saying, it's a very Pan-African audience. So I think the only part of Africa that we are missing right now is Central Africa. So thank you for joining from South Africa. So Emmanuel is going to engage in a conversation with Rutendo right now, which is going to start now. And as I said, it will be a very conceptual presentation of what the EFCTA is and what the main advantages and benefits of the EFCTA could be for entrepreneurs and businesses in Africa. So Emmanuel, over to you.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can't hear you, Emmanuel. Hello, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes. It's a little bit low.
Yeah, I think it's the earphones. I've had to do something about the earphones. Okay, hello, Rutendo.
Hey, Emmanuel, how are you?
Nice
Yeah,
to have you
your
here.
volume is not great, eh?
Hello, let me do something about the volume.
Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
It's still a little bit low.
Let me reposition. Oh dear. Hello, is it better now?
Yeah, it's much better. I can hear you loud and clear. How are you, Emmanuel?
Yes, by His grace, I'm fine, Rutendo. Thank you. Thank you for the time that you're given to us quite early in the morning, although it's probably getting to afternoon on your end. Welcome once again to Business Connect 2035 maiden edition. I think what we're trying to do here is try and get people's minds around the African Continental Free Trade Area, because there's an assumption that a lot of people understand what the African Continental Free Trade Area is. And I think we've all come to understand that the information sometimes needs to be incremental, which is to say that it needs to come in bits. I'm Bob, so to speak. We need people to understand and help situate the fact that the Afcfta is an AU project, what it's seeking to do within the AU structures of linking up with the private sector, and all the other associated agencies that it comes up with. And sometimes that's a challenge, especially when we're trying to get women entrepreneurs to understand how they can scale up their businesses. You need to break these kind of informations down on so that they can begin to follow the process as best they can. So we're very happy to have you here to help us, understand a little bit about the whole Afcfta structure. Why is it important? And why should people pay attention still to the Afcfta conversation in 2022 when it's just been a year since launch of formal trading? Why is Afcfta such an important project?
Yeah. No, thanks, Emmanuel. And I've also engaged a number of times with your colleagues, Silva Ojako. So you must please pass in my regards when I was still at Deloitte. But coming back to your point, the Afcfta is quite crucial for Africa. I think for a number of reasons. Just to give my context and my background, I've been doing working with multinationals and multilateral organizations in Africa for the last 20 to 30 years. And as much as Africa has got, the challenges and the dynamics around it, but I always say, when people look at Africa, they say, is the glass half full, is the glass half empty? And I always say, Emmanuel, at the end of the day, I don't look at the opportunities in Africa through a glass half full or half empty. I always use a concept called the calabash effect. And the reason I say the calabash effect is because Africa, as you know, is the home of the calabash, that pot or that cup that contains a lot of things. And most of us will know on this call, more maybe even the women, because they cook or they utilize it more in the African context, is that the calabash, you can never tell what's in the calabash by looking outside. You don't see through the clay. You actually have to look inside through the top. And usually the calabash will contain something nice, whether it's last night's stew or tomorrow's meal or a drink or et cetera, et cetera. So the reason I highlight this point, Emmanuel, is that the Continental Free Trade Agreement, or Afcfta in terms of abbreviation, is crucial for businesses. Because the strength of it is actually realizing what it contains in terms of its mandate of uniting Africa with its diversity. So you're not trying to create one country, but what you're trying to do is saying that in the different strengths of Africa, not just from a geographical perspective, but in terms of capability, in terms of IP, in terms of knowledge, when you harness that uniqueness and you direct it with regards to empowering the grassroots business people, leveraging off their strengths, whether they're in Kenya, Nigeria, Cameroon, Egypt, when you harness the capability and IP, which I believe has significantly grown over the years in one way or the other, not just from a continental perspective, but even from a diaspora perspective. When you harness that capability and you stimulate it into the economy, into the people of the African continent, then it allows you to unleash knowledge, power, and capability through industrialization that then translates into economic power. So looking at the forum of people that we've got here, I think one of the big investment attractiveness of Africa is that there's a lot of investment that is going in terms of empowering women on the African continent, not because we're saying they are weak, but people have realized the potential and capability that they have through driving and growing businesses. And the Afcfta allows and accommodates for this, and that's contributing to the bigger picture. So in summary, Emmanuel, I think what I'm trying to highlight is that the unifying effect directed to the right people, such as women empowerment, leading to stimulating small, medium enterprise business, leading to industrialization, is in itself a unique and relevant point with regards to stimulating economic growth, thus translating to social development of the continent. I'm just really summarizing it there, but I hope that gives you sort of a component of where I'm coming from.
Thank you very much for that, Rutendo. I believe that if there are any questions that people have, they'll be able to capture this in the chat area as well. But I think for now, you've made some very valid points, which leads me to the next question of Agenda 2063. Even though we're having a conversation about the role of Afcfta and then the private sector, which is a topic some may say has been overflogged because there have been different variations, combinations, and so on and so forth. Perhaps what is unique about this space is what we're trying to do by projecting, looking at 2035, when the World Bank says extreme poverty would have been halved by then. And therefore, what that opportunity says for what women can prepare themselves for. Aspiration 6 of Agenda 2063 speaks to women and youth, a people-centered women and youth. We have Aspiration 7 that talks about the AU as a global player. And you obviously know that in the latter part of this forum today, we're looking at how women from East Africa can capitalize on businesses from West Africa. Not to say that this Afcfta is just a project for women, but what is it that women, both the schooled and unschooled, can quickly begin to do to prepare themselves for what is coming? Because the process is slow at the moment. There's a lot of technical things going on. They're now going to move to the stage of e-commerce and all these other aspects. But what do women entrepreneurs, SME, those who are in the SME sector, what do they quickly need to do now to engage themselves on Afcfta and prepare for it adequately, without necessarily digging themselves into books and into technical things around what Afcfta is? Because really, there's no time. What they need to do, they're on the ground, they're at the borders, what do they need to do for themselves, in your view, very quickly, so that after all the technical negotiations are done, they are ready to fly, so to speak?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question, Emmanuel. And I hope one day I can see your face, my friend, because I don't know if I'm talking to a virtual computer or a Mr. Benson. So I hope I feel a bit lonely, but I see Miriam is there. So at least there are two human beings on the call. But coming to your point, Emmanuel, that's a very good point. I think one thing we forget about Afcfta, I mean, the secretariat is there, and the secretariat has got, led by Wamkele, is a competent group of people who understand trade and economics and investment, and they've got a great team of people that are there. But I think, coming back to your point, what we must realize that what the Afcfta is doing is creating a platform to equip whether it's the small, medium, large enterprise, to be able to leverage off the strength of the unified trading bloc of Africa to be global. That's how I see it. So it creates a platform, it creates an enablement platform. So if, once the secretariat and the team have finalized and put that in place and it's fully operational, that creates, to a certain extent, a level playing field for business people and, coming to the SME players or the women on this platform to be enabled to be successful. So let's assume that is there. What is it that they need to prepare? I think a number of components. At the end of the day, we mustn't take away the requirement that business people have to be business people. They have to be providing a solution that is required, and not just required in this day and age, just from an Africa perspective. You want to industrialize Africa. My vision for Africa is that industrialize and equip Africa and position it with its business people, with its business women, to such an extent that we're able to be competitive globally. When you look at success stories of countries or regions that have been successful, whether it's a Singapore, whether it's a Dubai, whether it's even in Israel, you look at these economies or you look at these countries and you realize what these guys did was they realized their unique value proposition to the rest of the world. Singapore, maybe not a big mining industry, not maybe a big agriculture industry, but they said, "What, we're able to be in this part of the world and be able to position ourselves to be efficient, to be technologically advanced, and to be a hub. Let's do that." They invested themselves in that, and today they're a bright shining star. You look at a country like Dubai, for example. We know that the oil in the Middle East is not from the UAE, it's not from Dubai. It's from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, maybe in Qatar, but not from Dubai specifically. But they realize their value proposition. So what I'm trying to say is that when we look at ourselves as businesses in Africa, is realize, gosh, you've got this great product that because of the value proposition, you can actually be competitive, not just from an African perspective, but globally, but at the same time, creating jobs and creating opportunities for people in Africa. So I think what I'm trying to say as the first point is that identify a need of the solution that you're providing as a business person, and that probably is already there. But two, see that how can you use the Afcfta and the platform it gives you to be able to catapult not only to an African perspective, but to the rest of the world. I work for an organization called Elevate, and our responsibility is offering is digital capacity, or creating digital capacity, not just to unemployed, to make them more employable, but working with SMEs and startups to say, how can you embrace technology to catapult you or to scale your business to the next level? So as the second thing is embracing digital technology as an SME, whether a male or a female, and saying, how can I use this to scale my business to go to the next level? And I'm not saying this just so that that business is in fashion, but more importantly, to be competitive. Because your competitor today, even though you're an SME, nobody feels sorry for you because you're an SME. Your competitor today is probably not your traditional business person from yesterday. It's going to be somebody different, somebody using technology, somebody who's not even existing in your country that is going to compete with you. So as much as the Afcfta creates a platform for us to catapult to the next level as a continent, as countries, as SMEs in the African continent, bear in mind that you are now in an environment that is more competitive. Just as you've catapulted into the rest of the world, there are other players who are saying, gosh, there's opportunity in Africa, and they're playing in the same space. So the first thing, as I said, would be, realize what is your value proposition, what is unique. But two, how can you leverage off technology to catapult off the platform that has been created by the Afcfta to be successful? And the last one, I think, also is never forget in terms of the role of industrialization and how that is going to be key, because the more successful Africa is, obviously, the better it is for you. So I think those are the sort of the three key points I'd like to highlight, but also like to take on here any questions, like you said, Emmanuel, so that at least, you want to be addressing specific things. But those are the three sort of highlights I'd like to bring to the table.
Thank you very much for that, Rutendo. And before I go, that is, I leave the platform for questions to be asked. I just wanted to ask one final question. With the operationalization of the Pan-African payment settlement systems, which is supposed to go live across the continent over the next couple of months, we know that it has started off in West Africa, in 6 West African countries, the countries of the West African Monetary Zone. But it has yet to get to all member states of the AU or party states of the Afcfta. what do you see as perhaps doing to the conversation on how women will be able to do business with each other without handling, cash, especially at a time when we are trying to move into a world post the pandemic? What do you see perhaps doing to catapult the conversation for businesses in a way that it has never done before? We know how M-Pesa started in Kenya and what it has done for the Kenyan economy, but what can it do for women, and what can it do for creating synergy across the continent in ways in which we can never imagine?
Yeah, no, that's a brilliant question, Emmanuel. And for me, the power of that technology in terms of the payment system is actually quite significant, and it's so easy for people to lose that, because by having an electronic medium of payment that is continental wide, that cuts across the red tapes, the bureaucracy. In a nutshell, Emmanuel, it creates efficiency. Now, why is there power in efficiency? Because we're saying that because payments are electronic, it allows us to be efficient in terms of how we operate. Efficiency translates to time effectiveness. Time effectiveness means that less time is being wasted in terms of processing, in terms of cross-border transactions, in terms of resources and people. But what is the ultimate gain of all of this in terms of efficiency, in terms of time effectiveness, in terms of less cross-border hassles? It all boils down to cost. Because ultimately, if you are more efficient, if you are more effective, that means the cost element of doing business goes significantly down. Now, when the element of cost comes significantly down, then it creates a competitive layer. So now, because remember the whole thing about Afcfta is the efficient movement of people, goods, and people. That's if you summarize it, the efficient or the effective movement of goods and people across the continent. Now, if that reduces cost, I was talking to the CEO of DHL a few months ago, and I remember him highlighting and saying that one of the challenges, DHL obviously he's been in about 40 of the African countries, and he says one of the biggest challenges, for their business is that the time wasted in terms of moving goods and goods across borders, and with airlines it's the same thing. But I'm just saying, ultimately, if you see the significant drop in cost, and when I say significant, guys, it's absolutely phenomenal. Sometimes it's like a 60% or 80% drop in cost because you've got an efficient system that is there. That money now, or that cost saving can be invested now in terms of skills development for women. It can be invested in terms of financing, whether it's microfinancing or trade financing, but money that could have been used in terms of ineffective processes is now being used to invest and allow women to be empowered and equipped so that they can now put that money into their businesses. So that payment system, that's one element of it. The other element is safety. I know a lot of traders who have to move across borders with US dollars tucked in different areas, or bags, or because banks are not being accommodating. I'm based in South Africa. I'm from Zimbabwe. I've been in a regime of finance that has been in terms of foreign currency that has been quite hectic. So now imagine you've got an electronic system that is there whereby transactions are moving. Like you gave an example of Speza. The risk of people moving across borders without having to worry about being robbed or being at risk is a big thing. And also from an accountability perspective, with blockchain now coming into play, I know there's a whole regulatory mandate around it, etc., etc. But guys, the more efficient we are, the more we can put money into things that we need to put money in terms of being more effective. And so it's quite exciting, because when this thing takes off, I believe the continent will take off to a different level altogether.
Thank you very, very much for that eloquent presentation, Rutendo. And I think, Miriam, if it's okay with you at this stage, are we going to take a break yet, or we can open the floor for questions?
Yes, I think, thank you very much, Rutendo. I think we can take some questions. And just to answer your concern, Rutendo, I think Emmanuel is off camera because he has some network issues on his hand.
That's good to know. I thought it was because he didn't like me, so it's good to know it was.
Yeah. So just to let everyone know, if you want to ask a question, the easiest way to do it If you go down on your screen, there is an icon called reactions, and you can raise your electronic hand. So, and I noticed that Joanne Keane raised her hand at some point. So Joanne, okay, I see, and Dorothy as well. So I'm going to start with Dorothy, and then we go to Joanne.
Okay, thank you, Miriam, and thank you, Rotendo, yes, for that presentation. Question I have, and I may be preempting Toyin later, so I don't know, but in relation to lowering the cost of transport, in relation to increasing the efficiency of logistics, are you aware of any conversations happening on the continent in relation to those two things which really drive up the cost of trade?
So, from my understanding, and Emmanuel, obviously you can weigh in from your side, from the Afcfta side, but Dorothy, thank you very much for that question. Just out of curiosity, which country are you based in, madam? I always like to know in this virtual world, which country people are from.
Uganda.
Uganda, yeah. Uganda. Okay. So East Africa. So I think there are a number of conversations. Look, I'm not partaking conversations, but there are a number of conversations because ultimately infrastructure is going to be a key player with regards to, so we might, it's, if we've got an effective, it's an ecosystem, Dorothy. So if people are able to pay efficiently, so if it took 10 days to make payments for cross-border transactions, but the goods themselves cannot actually cross the border, then it defeats the purpose. So there's huge investment that is there with regards to infrastructure. And as much as Africa's, the gap between infrastructure needs and financing is significant. People are building roads. People are investing in projects. People are building traction. I know from a logistics perspective with regards to, I know here in South Africa, just with regards to railways and transport and mobility. I mean, the future of mobility is going to play quite a key role in terms of more efficient ways of moving goods and people across the border. So to my knowledge, it's happening. It's not happening at the rate that we want it to happen. But again, governments and private companies are seeing the importance of it and saying, no, it has to happen. In terms of specific conversations from a continental perspective, I don't know, Emmanuel, from your side, you might have better insight than me in terms of good examples where, key projects that are happening to support the Afcfta growth around infrastructure.
Okay, hold on. Yes, so yes, Rotendo. Just to clarify something, Rotendo, I'm with the Afcfta Policy Network. Yes, we do. A member of the International Advisory Board of our International Advisory Board works with Afcfta Secretariat. It's Prudence Abahizi. I don't know if you know him. He's a chief advisor of the negotiations. But yes, so we have a close working relationship with them, but we are insider outsiders, so to speak. Nonetheless, I think I can help answer your question. I think, there's some infrastructure projects going on at the moment. First of all, in West Africa, there's the Abidjan-Lagos corridor, which is set to, I think, to open by 2035, hopefully before 2035. It's supposed to be a 6-lane corridor linking the countries of Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana, Togo, Benin, Nigeria through a 6-lane motorway. It's supposed to really speed up speed up economic integration in a way that it has not done before. I think the African Development Bank has put substantial resources behind it. ECOWAS is also supporting in different ways. So that's it for the Abidjan-Lagos corridor. I know Trademark Southeast Africa, which probably a lot of you know as being very key private sector operator in East Africa, was just a few months ago in Accra, and I think had Afcfta Secretariat taking them around the Abidjan-Lagos corridor, how far they have gone and so on and so forth, because I can give you the scoop of what I know if you have not heard it already. Trademark Southeast Africa wants to establish an office in Accra. to help also support what they've been doing in East Africa, to support it in West Africa, see what they could do with logistics and infrastructure. I think we know what they've been able to do quite well in East Africa. They want to do a similar thing through things like the Abidjan-Lagos corridor and see what how they can support. I don't know where the office will be located in Accra, but I do know that they definitely want a presence in Accra. And I think that will really change and also bring the East and West conversation closer in a way that we have not seen before. The other thing is that last May, the LAPSET, the Lamu Port, Ethiopia, so the LAPSET standing for the Lamu Port and the Mombasa Port, and then I think one of the Ethiopian ports as well. It's a what they call the PIDA. PIDA is the Program for Infrastructure Development in Africa. It's the AU's program that is responsible for promoting infrastructure on the continent. And LAPSET is one of the PIDA projects, has become an AU adopted project. It is supposed to link Ethiopia with South Sudan and Kenya, and make it easier through the port of Mombasa to send goods through, using blue economy, boats, things like that, rail, and all that kind of thing. But most interesting, the other thing is for LAPSET to connect to West Africa through Dakar. That is the long term. So they want to use LAPSET using the vector of Kenya, South Sudan, and Ethiopia to eventually connect to West Africa through Dakar and then make their way to Central Africa. So these are some of the infrastructure projects that are happening. Last year, when you look at the records through Google, almost a month to the day, I think 27th or so, around AU days, when they really, Kenya launched the LAPSET project officially. I think Uhuru Kenyatta launched it. So I think that is on course. It'll take quite a bit of time, but it's probably going to be one of the most ambitious infrastructure projects supporting Afcfta that we have ever seen before. And then the Abidjan-Lagos corridor, led by West Africa, also is something that is coming on board. We already know what is happening in Southern Africa. I think things like conversations between Malawi, Mozambique through rail, conversations are also happening. Very exciting things, considering what we know is happening in Mozambique with the conflict. So there's a lot of very exciting things happening as far as infrastructure is concerned. But the two former ones I mentioned are things that I hope will excite a lot of people on what we can expect over the next couple of years. All right, thank you.
Thank you. And Joanne, thank you very much from Uganda. Sorry, did someone?
Yeah, I have to drop off, but I can take one more question,
yes.
Miriam. I think I can take that, then you'll have to excuse me. I have to drop off for my next meeting.
Yeah.
But thanks, Emmanuel, for that insight. But I can take one more question.
Yeah. So there is one more question from Joanne in the chat, who is inquiring, and that's great because I had the same question, who is inquiring about the viability of the blockchain system in Africa. You mentioned blockchain in your presentation.
Yeah, so look, I'm not a blockchain expert, but again, I mean, what is blockchain? Blockchain is a means of transaction that reduces dependency on manual processes. It's innovative, it's efficient. I believe as much as it's got weaknesses, it's the future. The challenge, obviously, of blockchain is that not all regulatory frameworks support it. But if you look at the objective of blockchain, I think one of the countries to embrace it was Central African Republic. I think I read a few weeks ago, but again, I mean, as much as you want efficiency and effectiveness, you also want accountability. So, blockchain, definitely, I think it's going to be with us till death do us part. I don't think it's going to leave, or the equivalent of blockchain shall come because it is required. But again, it is important, and I think as an empowerment for the women on the call is to say, these are the kind of knowledge that you need. You don't have to be a guru and subject matter expertise on them, but equip yourself, empower yourself to be successful and knowledgeable about these things because they will impact your business in one way or the other. And also, they will allow you to effectively and efficiently scale your business because the technology and from a digital perspective allows you to efficiently and competitively scale up your business so that you compete and grow to the next level. So that would be my 2 cents on blockchain. Again, Miriam, as I said, I have to drop off, but you've got my details. Happy to have engaged in conversation with anybody to take to give a bit more insight. It's just that obviously I was limited because of time here.
Thank you so much, Rutendo, and thank you for your insight and also for this brief presentation, which was very clear, and we appreciate your contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to take, if there is no further question, even if Rutendo is not here, we're going to take a 15-minute break. So you can remain connected. So I will just pause the recording and we take a 15-minute break and resume. Right now it's 9:33 in Abidjan. So we resume at 9:48 a.m. GMT. Thank you. Okay, so we have 2 minutes, and then Toyin will present. Okay, it's time. So welcome, Toyin.
Thank you so much, Miriam, and welcome again, everybody. So we're going to start our presentation. We have the pleasure of your company for the next 45 minutes, and myself and my colleagues will go through our DIGILOGIC project information for you all. So thank you very much for inviting us, Miriam. We really appreciate it. And as I said, my name is Toyin Dania. I am the project manager for MEST. In Ghana. I've been based in Ghana for the last 8 years, and we are hosting the DIGILOGIC project, which I'll talk to you about a little bit later on. But I have my consortium partners who will be supporting me, which you will meet as we go along. So thank you very much. We are really interested in nourishing African tech talent, and from what I've heard today, we are going to be really excited about how we can continue our relationship building. So I'll move on with my slides. I'm trying to move along. Okay, so our agenda for today is that we're going to look at DIGILOGIC at a glance, so you get to understand what the DIGILOGIC project is all about and how hopefully we can engage with you. We've got some fantastic challenges in the smart logistics space, and we're looking at the levers for change, which we'll also showcase to you. Then we'll showcase to you some of our solutions that we're looking to implement, and then back to you with discussions around how we can all support each other and help overcome some of these challenges. So let's look at DIGILOGIC at a glance. Okay, so the DIGILOGIC project is about leveraging and strengthening the connections that we as a digital innovation hub in Africa can leverage with Europe. And we want to help build the first smart logistics Pan-African EU-Africa Digital Innovation Hub network and foster that digital transformation in the African logistics sector. We've got some key facts for you. We are an innovation action project and we are also 3 years old. Our project started in 2021 and will go on till December 2023. We've got a healthy budget and I have 7 fantastic partners, 4 from Europe and 3 from the African Union, including ourselves. So we have Finland, Germany, Italy, Ghana, Nigeria, and Zambia, all waiting to engage with you. We have our project coordinator, who are based in Germany, and they are the Digital Hub Logistics. So what are our objectives? We have quite a few, and for you, what we want to make sure is that we engage and establish our network with you all. We've got quite a lot of topics within the smart logistics area, but we'll be happy to discuss some of those with you with your questions a bit later on. But the main aim for us is to absolutely have seamless collaboration between us as hubs and our pool of emerging technology innovators. We want to create fantastic opportunities for you so that we can help to strengthen the technology transfer capabilities, not just with us as the Digital Innovation Hub, but with you and our African innovators and ICT professionals, so that you can actually look towards those better job opportunities that we've heard about today, where there's some challenges, but we want to start opening doors and delivering some technology transfer. We want to empower innovation by demonstrating how our DIGILOGIC network is relevant and how, as a digital innovation hub, we can engage with at least 200 innovators in our call for challenges on this project. Hopefully we'll have some more so that we can have some sustainability, but this is our initial task.
Toyin, please, can you speak louder?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, is that a bit better?
Yes, that's way better. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Okay, so as I was saying, we want to make sure that we can participate with you in collaborative projects and value creation in different use cases. So we're using live cases in Africa about what some of the challenges are and how we can look at those solutions. We're empowering our African youth, especially women and vulnerable groups, with entrepreneurial and digital literacy skills. And this will really help to increase good quality employment opportunities and including self-employment. We don't want to leave anyone out. Then, as I said earlier, we definitely want to ensure that we have sustainability after our project, and we've got lots of post-project and growth opportunities within the ecosystem, which myself and my colleagues will demonstrate to you a little bit later on. Okay, so now I'd like to hand you over to my colleague, Claudia, who will talk to you about the challenges of the smart logistics system and levers for change.
Thanks a lot, Toyin, and thanks everybody who explained and shared their knowledge before. I also don't want to talk too long because we've actually prepared a video about the results of our work that we did at the very beginning of the project. We explored the system of smart logistics in Africa. And so we did a lot of stakeholder consultation to understand the challenges, but also the levers for change. So we try to understand what do we need to do to change the system to make the whole logistics system in Africa or to improve it and make it a better and more conducive environment for businesses and the people in Africa. And Toyin, over to you for playing the video.
Thank you. I'm trying to play it, and unfortunately, it's not allowing me to at the moment. Bear with me just a second. I'll see what I can actually do. Let me pause my share. So sorry, it's not actually working. So I'm trying to go offline so that I can actually reshare it within YouTube. So please just bear with me a moment. I'm really sorry. I don't know if you want to start talking and I'll start sharing the video as soon as I can.
Oh, Miriam, could you also make me co-host so I can share it from my end?
Oh, that might be a better idea. Thank you.
Yes, probably. I think Toyin, since you are the co-host, I think you are the one who can make Claudia a co-host. You know how to do that, Toyin?
I'm just going to try.
Yeah, so you need to go to participants.
From the participants, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a small reminder for those who have logged on as participants. I've sent a link in the chat area. It's just to get to know who you are. By clicking on the link, it'll take you to a WhatsApp platform. This way.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Claudia, you can go ahead. My apologies.
No worries. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Let me see.
Yes, we can.
Can you also hear the music? Can you hear the music?
No. No, we can't. Or what you can do, maybe you can, did you hear the music during the break?
Yes.
No, I just have to include, sorry, I just have to include, I think I just have to do it again.
Okay.
Start over again. You hear it now?
Yeah.
Digital solutions are optimizing the logistics sector, from smart warehouses to matching platforms and digital addresses. Nevertheless, challenges remain, and too few solutions are scaling. Optimizing parts of the logistics sector is not enough. The DIGILOGIC Consortium is on a quest. We want digital solutions to transform the logistics sector. To do this, we take a systemic approach and spur collaboration between digital innovation hubs in Africa and Europe. Our aim is to create a more efficient, affordable, sustainable, and inclusive logistics sector in Africa. DIGILOGIC has chosen to focus our efforts on what we call the critical mile, a product's journey from a warehouse to a customer's doorstep. This is more than just transport and includes matching, tracking, cold chain management, addressing, and environmentally friendly vehicles. Our work also considers the interconnections between the critical mile and the rest of the logistics value chain. We engaged a wide range of actors to understand how systems work at the critical mile. We held 2 consultation webinars and interviewed over 40 stakeholders from Africa and Europe, including digital innovation hubs, startups, logistics companies, NGOs, academia, and many more. Here's what we learned. Despite a range of promising digital solutions, the critical mile in Africa continues to suffer from weak support structures, limited collaboration, duplication, and fragmentation. This leads to inefficiencies and increased costs. Currently, there are crucial gaps in supporting innovation, such as insufficient government engagement with innovative small local players and a lack of adequate financing. Due to the weak ecosystem, actors must create these support structures themselves. For example, they may have to provide digital literacy, access to financing, or insurance. This increases costs. Challenges in easily identifying reliable partners further limits collaboration with existing networks and stakeholders on the ground. As a result, larger players typically move towards vertical integration to fill in gaps and increase quality control. They incorporate additional services to their core operations to cover many steps without partners. All this drives duplication and fragmentation and reduces the potential for digital solutions to scale. This in turn limits awareness and the incentive to support smart logistics. For smart logistics solutions to transform the critical mile, we need to get the system to start operating differently. DIGILOGIC identified these leverage points that have the potential to do just that. Providing up-to-date and accessible information on active small and large players, regulations and funding opportunities would foster transparency. A collaboration platform could build on this and enable key actors to meet and explore synergies. Once actors have the structure and incentives to collaborate, smaller players could gain greater credibility by collaborating with established larger actors who could even serve as guarantors, enabling greater access to financing such as loans. Even the informal sector of distributors and retailers can be included in such an improved and coordinated system by leveraging current intermediary initiatives. A better structured and collaborative landscape would enable and scale more use cases and business models for smart logistics solutions at the critical mile. So, what's next? Look out for our DIGILOGIC challenges, where we'll be creating partnerships anchored by African and European digital innovation hubs collaborating around the leverage points. We'll also be launching an e-learning platform, as well as a series of events aimed at promoting knowledge exchange within and beyond the African logistics ecosystem. Join us as we transform the critical mile.
So yeah, you heard my colleague Tendai explaining the challenges that we realized, and she also already mentioned some of the solutions that DIGILOGIC will support and implement. And to share the solutions that we have in our program, I will hand it back over to Toyin and then also my colleague Francesca. Toyin, you can probably again share the slides. Or did Toyin drop out of the call?
I noticed that, I mean, Toyin, maybe you're muted. I don't know, maybe you're talking, but you're currently muted.
Might also
or what could okay, you could Claudia,
yeah,
maybe you can make me co-host, and I'm going to share your presentation because she sent me the presentation.
Excellent.
So you know how to do that?
Yeah, I'm
okay.
just
Let me see.
So you're host again.
Okay, great. So I'm going to share your presentation. Okay, bear with me. Okay, so let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
And I think Toyin will take over. I think she dropped out of the call for a moment, but yeah, so we need the slide, one slide further.
Okay.
And then this one, exactly.
Okay.
These are the solution implemented by DIGILOGIC. And she says she'll be back as soon as she can. Maybe, yeah, then Miriam, if you could click on the next slide.
Clau, would you like me to?
Yeah, if you want to
go
over,
on, yeah,
Francesca, that would be excellent.
absolutely. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Francesca Pozzar, and I'm speaking from Italy currently. I am project officer in the DIGILOGIC project for Friuli Innovazione, which is an innovation agency involved in this project. And what you see on the screen are the key differentiators we have tried to put together to offer something unique in the frame of this field that we are tackling of the last mile logistics. So my role in the project is to coordinate the DIGILOGIC offering of learning opportunities for African and European businesses and individuals. And our goal in this sense is twofold: to empower people with entrepreneurial and digital skills needed in smart logistics, and on the other way around, create new business opportunities and new partnerships in logistics last mile. So I don't know, I can move on, or fine, you're back. So do you want to continue? I'm not sure you can hear us.
Toyin, can you hear us?
Okay, I can continue if you want. Meanwhile, try and solve her technical issues. Please, you can go one slide further. Okay, and we can't hear you very well. Maybe switch off your video.
Yes, probably if you switch off your video, maybe the connection may be better. We can't hear you well. So maybe you can write in the chat, but we can't hear you.
Music seems to be on the background. So if you like to go one slide back, I can recap some of the solutions that were introduced already in the video. Yeah. As Sven was saying, the project started 1.5 years ago, more or less. And in the first part, we worked a lot in building networks and make stronger the collaboration between organizations involved, so digital innovation hubs and other partners in Europe and Africa. And now we are basically ready to enter more into the part where we will involve external stakeholder and final beneficiaries, so to say. And so in terms of solutions we can offer to the many challenges that relate to logistics in Africa nowadays, first of all, we can build bridges and offer a place where people can be part of a large community and that shares interests and skills and ideas in this domain. Moreover, there are 2 activities running in this week that I would like to present to you. So if you can move on now, Miriam. We have basically 3 opportunities. The first one was supposed to be presented by Toyin. I don't know if Toyin, if you want to try to open your micro and see.
I've tried to open the mic. Can you hear me now?
You're back.
Thank you so much. Teamwork makes the dream work. I'm so sorry about this, Miriam. Thank you. So as we were just saying, we have 3 fantastic opportunities to engage with you. The first being our hybrid digital and entrepreneurship capacity building program, which will start on Monday, the 6th of June, and will run for 4 weeks till the Friday, July the 1st. If I could have the next slide, please. Thank you. So the recruitment and selection process has started. We're really excited to say that we do have over 200 applications online already, but this is for our June cohort. We have another cohort in November. So if anybody is interested, please, we have till tomorrow for our deadline if you're interested in our cohort for June. We will ask you to do 4.5 hours of pre-learning, and what we feel is that design thinking and business model canvas and Figma design training will really help you to see the capacity that you need to have and competence you need to have to engage fully with the actual learning that you're going to undertake. And if you're not successful to come onto the program, you've learned a new skill that you can now take out into your job seeking opportunity. The 4 weeks of our capacity building program will culminate in 8 teams of 5. We're looking for 40 participants to give us our 8 teams of 5. And it's going to be hybrid learning with us as a digital innovation hub, being able to take on participants who want to come and have an in-person relationship with us. The rest will be online. We're covering Ghana, Zambia, Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa. And this is open to our young people who are unemployed, ages 18 to 35. So our community platform is where we'll actually deliver our training, and we'll tell you a little bit about that with Francesca a bit later on. But we're looking for 3 hours a day for 5 days a week and for the full 4 weeks. And we'll be going over design thinking, business model canvas, and Figma UI design. The final day will culminate in a graduation and an internship offering. We have a live case study that we're actually going to look at a real life African business and the challenges that they have. And what we want our teams to do is to work within the 4 weeks to actually come up with a solution. And the best team of 5 will actually be offered the additional 4-week internship and continue with us. And that will culminate in our pitch and graduation day. Thank you, Claudia.
I think it's over to Francesca. Right?
Yes, it's over to Francesca now for the second part of our activities. Thank you all so much.
Thanks again. So there are 2 other opportunities that are happening these days, as I was saying, so it's worth to spend some time on those. The first one is called Co-Creation Impact Labs. And we can move to the next slide, please, Miriam. So we are launching a series of 6 virtual laboratories that will focus on opportunity segments in the critical mile in Africa, with a huge impact potential, like, for instance, addressing systems for healthcare or cold chain integrity to deliver fresh food, and many more. So we will select 6 of these subtopics according also to the preferences that our community will express. And the main feature of these labs are that anyone can join. Skilled individuals would be entrepreneurs, business owners, or logistics corporate employees as well. And we aim to offer the opportunity to refine problem solving through co-creation approaches, where the team value is crucial, so the group work. And participants will learn during 16 hours journey along 2 weeks, how to go through service design in smart logistics, but also how to leverage on multicultural groups, how to effectively collaborate and keep the focus on users' needs. We will start in July this year, the first lab, and then we will repeat this learning opportunity each 3 months, more or less. And you will learn everything on the platform that I will present later, but basically the applications will open early June for the first lab, and in that moment you will also have the possibility to know the specific topics we will focus. And now I will kindly ask Miriam to move on so I can present you the third, but not less important, definitely, opportunity we have for you. In this case, I'm talking about the challenges, which is a call for ideas, basically. We can move directly to the next slide, where we have some more details. This opportunity is currently open and we have a deadline, which is the 31st of August. And I'm really glad to present this to you because Call for Ideas is open to anyone with an idea that fits into one of these 4 areas, 4 phases of the last mile value chain. These phases are warehousing, transportation, point of sale, and end user experience. So if you have an idea that fits into one of those that can improve somehow that part, please apply through the platform, because in the end, we will select more or less in September the 12 proposals that are more close to the evaluation principles, and those will have the opportunity to join a 3-day boot camp in Europe. After that boot camp, each idea will have access to 1 year-long tailored support program provided by the DIGILOGIC Digital Innovation Hub, meaning MEST for Toyin, or Friuli Innovazione in Italy, but also BTT in Finland, DHM in Dortmund, and Bongo Hive in Zambia. So we really have a very qualified partnership that will support these teams and bring those closer to investors or uptakers for their solutions. Just one note on that. This activity, so this opportunity of the challenges, does have some country restrictions that it's worth to mention. We can accept applications from Ghana, Nigeria, Zambia, Finland, Germany, Italy, Botswana, Kenya, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. And I think that we can move on. Of course, after that, you can pose as many questions as you want. Last but not least, of course, I did not cover everything in these few minutes, and many details remain out of my speech. But of course, you can find an easy way to search for all information you may need on these opportunities and on the project. Is of course using and accessing our website, but also via the DIGILOGIC community platform. At the moment, we can count on more than 700 people from Africa and European Union. And among them, we have experts in logistics, experts in technologies and innovation and business, and many learners also. So people, skilled people that is willing to improve their professional background or that are looking for an opportunity in the logistics sector, a job opportunity, I mean. And in the platform, once you have registered, you have access to many resources that are already there or that will be implemented in the next month. You can have access to our library. You have access to self-moderated groups of discussion. You have the opportunity to get in touch directly with any of the members of the community and to make your announcements to the community. So basically, of course, as mentioned, you can apply to the co-creation labs, to the capacity building that Toyin presented. You can submit your idea to the challenges. You can find teammates, for instance, to make your proposal for the challenges stronger, because one of the criteria that we have is to look into the teams, and in particular in international teams if they appear. And so really you can find a lot in the platform, and community potential, as I saw the thing, as you see the thing, community potential is really almost endless, and it largely depends on people's ability to exploit it. And with this final comment, I'm done, and I give back the floor to Toyin, and I would like to thank again to the organizers for having us, because this is a great opportunity to present the project.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Francesca and Claudia, for supporting me with this opportunity. So now it's over to you. We have the chat. If you have any questions that you'd like to share with us, anything that you'd like us to help you with, we've already put in our contact details in a chat for DigiLogic, but the floor is yours. I'm looking forward to answering your questions with my colleagues.
And once again, if you want to ask a question, you can raise your electronic hand. So it's in the icon, reactions icon at the bottom of your screen, and you can raise your electronic hand. Okay, I think I have a question, actually. I can probably start.
Hello.
Okay, someone.
Hello.
I can't see who is speaking.
Hello.
I can't see.
So, okay, is it Patricia?
Yes, from Nigeria.
Okay, welcome, Patricia. Can you be on camera?
How do I do that? Okay, I put on the video.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay, just a minute. Well, let my question go on. In applying, you had an age limit.
Yes.
And that age limit is going to be a barrier because for those of us who are already in business, we are older than that age. We can put our children in, but we want to be part of it, to know exactly what to do. It's true, I've been in the business for over 20 years and I'm still not making enough impact. So I've got all the licenses. So what is left? That's why I want to learn.
Thank you so much for that, Patricia.
The icon is not coming up.
Oh, don't worry, don't worry. We've heard your wonderful voice. Thank you so much. For us on the DigiLogic project, that's what we're looking for with sustainability. We want to make inroads with this project over the next 3 years. And then hopefully people like yourselves will say that you have a demand for some of the skills sets that we're demonstrating here, and we'll happily engage with you post the project. I'm at Meltwater Entrepreneurship School of Technology in Accra. Where are you based, Patricia?
I'm based in Nigeria, in Lagos.
In Nigeria, okay. We have a partner in Nigeria. We have a partner in Nigeria, but we could maybe engage with you offline and look at some of the opportunities that we may be able to present to you within the established partnerships that we have that may help you in the future. Maybe not particularly this project, but maybe post this project. If my colleagues have got anything from their side that they'd like to share as well.
I can add that there are resources on the platform that are for learning. So first of all, you can look into the platform and you will find lots of training material once the courses are completed and so. And also labs might be an opportunity for you.
Yeah, this is also what I wanted to say, that some of I think it's mainly the capacity building which aims at youth and young people, but the other programs, a lot of them don't have an age restriction. For example, the co-creation labs, they are open to everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Correct, Patricia. So we've put in the chat the actual DigiLogic website. Please check us out on that, and we will be sharing the presentation with all the other information for you as well.
Thank you, Toyin. So I have a question, and before that, for the participants, if you could send your email address in the chat to Lydie, L-Y-D-I-E, so that we can share, the presentation and the resources of the webinar with you after the webinar. So if you can send your email address and your contact details to Lydie, L-Y-D-I-E, in the chat. Thank you. So yes, so I have a question. So I realized that you were available in Ghana, Zambia, Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa right now. And I was wondering, what about the Francophone African countries? And also, I know that there are some countries which are represented today, like Uganda and Tanzania, and that they don't seem to be included. And the second question is for the call for proposals. Maybe I misheard, but apparently the applications are limited to certain countries. Is it correct? Okay. So I was wondering whether the application could be, more open to other and include other countries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you take this
that,
one,
Francesca? Oh, okay, I can take that. We have our 5 main countries, but we have got Tanzania on our eastern side that we are collaborating with as well. So there's a full list of all the countries that we are looking at. We have 5 main countries because that's where we actually have our digital innovation hub spread. So we had to start with that, but we have got Tanzania and some other parts of East Africa that are included.
And also I can mention that for the labs only, there is no country restriction because activity will happen totally online. So for that activity, and of course for subscriptions or membership in the community, there is no country restriction. But when it comes to the actual deployment of some activities, they have to be on the countries that are involved in the project mainly. So that's why some activities do have country restrictions and some not.
And I'm just wondering, because I know that there are some representative of the National Committee of the Afcfta on the line. How does a country becomes, part of the program? Is it does a country need to apply? How does it work? Let's imagine if Côte d'Ivoire wants to be part of it.
Should I reply, Toyin, Francesca?
Yes, please, Claire. Thank you.
So the idea behind the program when we wrote the proposal, which was it was in 2020, still in the first COVID phase, but we had also planned quite a lot of activities in person, actually in the countries, and therefore we had to select some countries where we actually had physical presences or partners who could provide trainings, etc. So this is the reason why we had to pick at the proposal stage certain countries where we said we would do certain activities. But then, as Francesca said, there are then certain activities that are now still online because you're so used to it, and some things work really well online, and so these activities are then open, obviously, to people from all countries, Europe and Africa. But what you just mentioned before is unfortunately, the activities are usually in English, and this is, I think, mainly to our capacity to speak French or not so well. So this is the only caveat, that the activities are in English.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Claire.
Yeah,
I just can see Emmanuel has his hand up. Can you see that, Mariam?
Yes,
yeah,
and
great.
I also want to, Lilian's asked a similar question for Sierra Leone, and I believe your answers are also applicable to Sierra Leone. Okay, so Emmanuel.
Yes, this is not really a question, but just a kind reminder for all those who are participating in the program. I've posted a link on the chat. We want to know who you are. So there's a WhatsApp platform for the Business Connect. If you can click the link on the Business Connect so that we can continue the conversation and expand a lot of this conversation through on WhatsApp as well. Please just check the chat box. Thank you.
So thank you. And so there is a question from the African Women Chamber of Commerce in the chat. So I don't know if you've seen it, but so the question is whether you work with regional women organizations or just individual businesses.
I think that this one has to go in.
We have 40% focus for women on our capacity building program. So we really are targeting women who don't get this opportunity to take part in courses like this. But also throughout the program, we are looking at vulnerable groups such as our youth and our women. So as a consortium, we work together on this particular project, but as MEST and the individual digital innovation hubs, they all have their different criteria to work offline with them.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've got one from Lillian as well. Oh, that was the question from Lillian. I'm conscious of time. We have about a minute left. Do you want to give us a little bit more time, Mariam?
Yes, sure. Yes, I think we can
conclude.
We can take probably 5 more minutes. If there is, I mean, are there any more questions? I'm just checking. And if you don't want to raise your hand, you can write your question in the chat. Okay, so I think we have 5 more minutes. Okay, so I guess no more questions. So I guess you can
we can wrap up.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much. We really appreciate your ears. Please join us on our community platform, join us on our website, engage with us on any of our 3 exciting opportunities. I have shared the presentation with Emmanuel. I'm happy to dialogue with any of you offline. Thank you very much. Ladies, would you like to say anything else in conclusion? Clau and Francesca?
Just thanks a lot, and and goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much for this presentation. So it's actually perfect in terms of the timing. So Dorothy, I wonder whether you're here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Great. Okay, great. So I think, Dorothy, now we're going to start the session, which we focus on women businesses.
I'm just turning on my camera.
Yeah.
If it will come on. Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Sorry, it's a bit dark. Hang on, just get the lighting so I can get some more light. Okay, so thank you, Mariam, and thank you, Miriam. Thank you to everybody who's presented before. Let's see, this particular session is really, we're calling it East meets West, or West meets East. East meets West kind of rolls off the tongue a little easier. And so it's an opportunity for the participants on the call who are women business owners and male business owners as well, to talk about possibly the challenges that you've had in trying to engage in regional trade, but also very importantly, we would like to explore the possibility of there being some interest in people on this call to actually trade with the other side of the continent. So with that in mind, what we would like to do is actually identify which women-owned businesses are on the call, both from in Francophone and also the Anglophone Africa, and then from there be able to see. Our goal is to see if we can actually facilitate an exchange or a connection between East and West. So that being the case, I can see that on the call we have 28 participants, and I'm pretty sure that all 28 are not business owners. But if we could perhaps just by a very quick show of hands, if you could just click on your under reactions, if you could just click on your raise your hand if you are a woman business owner. Actually, let me drop the woman, but if you are a business owner from Francophone, if we could please just see the count. And I don't know, Miriam, if we have somebody counting, could we get just the Francophone first?
Yes.
And then we will do the East. We just want to see what that representation is.
Okay, so maybe let me translate, because I sent a message to few women, and I'm going to, I haven't received any answer, and I'm going to put them on the spot here. So the first one is Kadi Diop. Je vais vous ouvrir le micro. Est-ce que vous pouvez ouvrir votre micro, s'il vous plaît? J'aimerais juste vérifier avec vous si vous êtes francophone et quel est votre background. Allô, Madame Diop? On ne vous entend. Madame Diop?
Oh, I see the I counted 6 hands, but now I see the hands dropping. They're now. Oh, hang on.
Okay, wait. Yes, it just. I think they are a mix of hands. So, Madame Diop, I just want to hear, because I'm not sure that some of the people on the call understood what you asked. Okay, so I got a confirmation from Madame Diop that she's francophone. Okay. Et Madame Diop, est-ce que vous êtes entrepreneur ou une représentante du comité national ZCAF? Vous êtes membre de l'équipe. Est-ce que vous pouvez me répondre aussi dans le chat? Ou êtes-vous entrepreneur? Ou vous faites un commerce quelconque? Ok, j'ai pas de réponse. Est-ce que vous pouvez vous allumer votre micro et peut-être me parler? Ok, bon, j'ai pas de réponse. And there is also another. Okay, so Madame Diop works in at the port. Donc Madame Diop, n'hésitez pas à parler, à ouvrir votre micro, on traduira. Mais il est important que vous participiez si vous êtes parmi nous. And there's also another woman, Karine Touré Yemitia. So I'm going to. Vous m'entendez, Madame Touré?
Good morning. I can speak in English or in French.
Super.
No problem. Okay.
Est-ce que vous pouvez vous présenter, s'il vous plaît? Parce que je vous envoyais un message et j'ai pas eu de réponse.
Ah, ok. J'ai pas fait attention au message du tout. J'écoutais. Okay. Good morning. I'm Karine Touré Yemitia from Côte d'Ivoire. I'm a chairperson of a group of women in logistics and transport, the branch of Côte d'Ivoire. And we're working closely with Afcfta, which is ZCAF in French. We are almost partner making common actions together. And Kadi Diop, she's the representative of Wilat in Senegal.
Okay.
So we're doing the same. And so we gather women entrepreneurs, women in logistics to push them to grow the business. So that is the target. I'm also an entrepreneur, and I'm also working for the United Nations.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, so Dorothy, over to you.
Yeah, so does it mean that we only have 2 ladies on the call from Francophone or West Africa?
So there are 2 women who confirmed, and I'm not able to, I'm trying to reach them, and I haven't been able to reach them so far.
Okay, no worries.
Yes, when I say 2 women, I would say head of organizations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm trying to do is just get a sense of who we have on the call in order to engage the conversation. So perhaps I do have a question for you, Karine, and you mentioned you're an entrepreneur. Out of curiosity, what service or product are you providing, or is it in connection with the skills? I'm sorry, in connection with the logistics?
Okay, it's in connection with skills.
Aha. Okay,
yes.
skills development. Okay,
yes, exactly.
Great.
Leadership
Perfect.
and logistics skills.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then now perhaps I'll move to, I see here, Helen, name I cannot pronounce, Zizalobule, in skills development sector. Helen, which country are you representing? Zambia? Zede must be Zambia. Or is that South Africa? Okay, no response. I wonder if there's a problem with the relay of the message. Okay, that's also still.
Hélène, I asked you to unmute. So if you click on the icon that you see, you should be able to unmute. Okay.
All right, while Helen is sorting her, unable to speak at the moment. Okay, Helen, are you in South Africa? You can just type a yes. Okay, great. Super, thank you. And then Lillian Rogers. So sorry, this is going to sound like a roll call, but just so that we all know who all are in the room. Lillian Rogers. Hi.
Yes, I'm here. Yeah,
Hi.
how are you?
Very well, thanks. What country and what business?
I'm from Sierra Leone, West Africa.
Okay.
I am the president of the Afcfta Sierra Leone chapter.
Okay.
And I also have, a private company.
What does the private company do?
Agriculture.
Agric. Okay, agriculture. Any particular product? We're getting very specific.
Rice, vegetables, rice and vegetables.
Okay, great, super. And then thank you, Lillian and Patricia.
Thank you very much.
Going over to you, Patricia. Okay, with a hand up, but no problem. Okay, I think if we've exhausted all the West African.
Let me check. I'm going to ask Patricia to unmute, maybe.
Okay.
It will be easier. So Patricia, you should have received a prompt to unmute. And if you just click on the prompt, you will, no? Okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, my name is Patricia from Nigeria.
Hi, Patricia.
The coordinator of all fish nets, and I'm into business. I do processed value chain fish and some other agricultural programs like plantain flour and others. Did you get that?
Yep, we certainly did. Thank you, Patricia.
Yes, we got that. Thank you.
Yep, very clear. Okay, I'm moving on to the next one. Aisha Ali.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning. My name is Aisha Ali Ibrahim. I am the founder of Women in Logistics and Transport. And I have my own private business. I'm a consultant and trainer on logistics and transport here in Lagos.
Thank you so much, Aisha, and welcome. So we've got lots of capacity building folks engaged in training, so services. And then I'm going to, maybe Miriam, you can check if there's anybody else from West Africa that would like to introduce themselves, West or Central.
I see Aisha Ali Ibrahim. I don't know.
She's just finished.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
So is there anyone else? Someone said hello. I'm wondering. Okay, Mrs. Hamza.
Is that Thank you for the opportunity. And my name is Mwajuma. I work with the Tanzania Women Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. And are you an entrepreneur yourself, or do you do some trade?
I'm also an entrepreneur, but I am the CEO of Tanzania Women Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so what Mwajuma is not saying is she represents several women business associations belong to the Tanzania Women Chamber. So by going through her, you're actually reaching tens of thousands of women.
Yes,
and several associations.
I'm representing more than 10,000 women entrepreneurs in Tanzania. Yeah. So within our membership, we have 14 sectoral associations, including cooperatives, but also we have a specific sector association. We have company owned by women, and also groups owned by women across the country. So we are working in all the regions of Tanzania, mainland and Zanzibar. I have also joined the group, the WhatsApp group. Maybe I will be able to share more information regarding what we are doing as a Apex Organization for Women Economic Empowerment in Tanzania.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Mwajuma. Okay, we are moving, going down the line, East Africa.
Let me check. Is there anyone? Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres francophones? Je vois qu'il y a des personnes qui viennent juste de se connecter. Or is there anyone else who would like to introduce herself or himself?
Okay, let me introduce myself. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes. I'm Ogo Uboma. I'm a lecturer actually into capacity building in the School of Transport and Logistics, Lagos State University. So we do, we have a lot of researches into logistics and transport that will be needing a lot of Internet of Things hub innovations in carrying out most of our researches. So I'll be getting in touch, if you don't mind, okay, for collaborations in some of those projects.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Uboma. So we also have Daniel Lago, who raised his hand. So I'm going to send you, je vais vous envoyer, si vous êtes francophone, je vous envoyer un message pour que, voilà, là vous êtes, on peut vous entendre. Vous m'entendez? Allô? On ne peut pas vous entendre si vous parlez. We can't hear you if you're currently saying something. Peut-être que vous pouvez augmenter votre volume. Maybe you can increase the volume of your phone or the device that you're using.
Or type in the chat, because there seems to be an issue.
Yeah. So we can't hear you, Mr. Dago. On ne peut pas vous entendre, Monsieur Dago. Alors, je vois qu'il y a Madame Liliane Mbando, ou Liliane Mbando, who is not muted. Would you like to introduce yourself? Okay, I think. Can you hear us?
You said Lilian what?
No, Liliane Mbando, not Liliane Rogers.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry about that.
But I'm not sure that she can hear us. And also Janice raised her hand as well. So maybe let's try with Janice to see if we can hear her. So I sent you a prompt.
Hello, good afternoon.
Go ahead, Janice.
Yes, my name is Janice Kimaro. I work with the East Africa Women in Business platform, which is based in Arusha. The platform is a forum that brings together women in business and professional women from across the EAC region. And these women are national apex bodies, associations, networks of business women, in formal and informal cross-border traders, and regional civil society organizations working to promote business women and women's socioeconomic advancement. So the platform, EWIP, draws its mandate from Article 121 and 122 of the EAC Treaty, and it was formed in year 2011. And from that time, it was hosted under the East Africa Business Council up to April 2020, whereby thereafter from August 9,
we seem to have lost sound.
Around 40,000 women in business across the region. Hello?
We can hear you now.
Okay. So we work together, the platform works together closely with the EAC Gender and Community Development and CSO's department to design gender inclusive positions on a variety of issues. And I wish to acknowledge the presence of Ms. Generose Minani, who is the Principal Gender Officer from the East Africa community, who is here with us. And of course, there are some members of EWIP here. I think some of them, probably they cannot, probably their internet is not good. That is including Lillian Mbando. I think some of them are just introducing themselves on the chat. So thank you very much. And I look forward to engage more with you guys in the near future. Thank you.
So thank you, Janice. So I can see that Lilian Mbando raised her hand. And then I see Lovin from the African Women Chamber of Commerce. So we're going to start with you, Lilian. You're unmuted, so you can share now. We can't hear you if you're talking. Okay, so I think we have we have some technical challenge because there are some participants that we just can't hear. So we're going to move to Mr. and Mrs. Dabney Shal-Holma. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name. So I'm going to ask you to unmute. Sorry, you're still muted. Hello.
Hello,
Okay.
can
Yes.
you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I am Dabney Shal-Holma. I advise WILAT at the global level, but I also am an entrepreneur to an extent. I lead a group of entrepreneurs. That's why I said I am an entrepreneur. In Nigeria, I lead a group of entrepreneurs who have formed themselves into a consortium and for the mere purpose of bridging logistics infrastructural gaps for hinterland, regional, and transit trade. We also looking at developments of infrastructure on the inland waterways, as well as infrastructure at the border crossings. We do a lot of engagement and collaborative partnership with border countries of Niger, Northern Cameroon, and Chad. And there are a lot of commodities that we have identified for entrepreneurs in those countries, in certain cases, women, because 80% of cross-border traders in West and Central Africa are actually women. And the reason why we went into this particular venture was because there was a gap in the infrastructure and commodities lack access to the markets. And we're also looking at, like I said, developing the inland waterways. But most importantly, our traders in West and Central Africa, predominantly women, would always want to move with their goods. So when they shop from markets, they want to go along with their goods. So we felt there was a need to bridge that gap by creating connectivity for those market women that are taking commodities from West Africa to Central Africa and from West Africa to Northern Africa by sea on short sea haulage. So essentially that's what we do. And I am on API's business series, and I've engaged a lot with Bensa and some of the gentlemen on that series because it has helped to broaden the scope of the operations of the consortium. The consortium is called C-Link, and it has been accorded the regional enterprise status by ECOWAS. And I'm going to engage more with women because I know that women are more versatile and more robust in trade. Thank you very much.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Miriam, you're mute.
Sorry, I'm muted. So thank you very much, Mrs. Shal-Holma. So we're going to move to Mrs. Camara, who is in the Ivory Coast. And Madame Camara, j'ai l'impression qu'on ne vous entend pas. Vous pouvez dire quelque chose? Est-ce que vous nous entendez? Vous nous entendez? Ah, on ne vous entend pas. On ne vous entend pas. Est-ce que peut-être vous pouvez couper la caméra et puis essayer de nous parler pour voir si ça marche mieux? Vous m'entendez? Okay, so bear with me. I'm going to see. Est-ce que vous pouvez essayer de voir le volume de votre micro peut-être? Non, ok. So, donc, je vais peut-être, attendez, présenter Madame Camara. So maybe I'm going to introduce Mrs. Camara if her connection is not effective. So, so Mrs. Camara is the head of a cooperative based in Côte d'Ivoire, in a city called Bouaké. And she's the head of a cooperative of 3,000 women, and they export their products mainly outside of Africa. And what I mean, her interest of connecting here is really to explore also the opportunity to export within the continent and particularly East. So that's Madame Camara, and so she represents 3,000 women, and so I'm going to check if she can remain in the conversation. Thank you. And I think the last person that we're going to hear from is Lovin from Uganda. So I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Yeah, good afternoon and good morning to everyone who is on this platform today. I'm representing the African Women Chamber of Commerce. Mainly we have women from all over Africa who are in business. We have different sectors. Some are in trading in textiles, others in fashion, and others in food processing. We also have women in entertainment sector, among others. So we are also, myself, I'm a business person. I do fish processing and trading, and I'm passionate about working together with my fellow women in trade to ease our work, to make negotiate better for better tariffs along the borders. We work so much with women on cross-border trading, and the challenges we face are similar. So we really look forward to having access to finance, better branded and packaged products to be competitive in the market. We hope that by being together on the platform, by being together in the organizations that we all belong to, the work will become much easier for us to be able to, it will make our work much easier. And business, the cost of running business in Africa is very high. My concern mainly is on how we will identify the African products and maybe, I'm sorry to say, Chinese products. For example, if we agree, I am in support of the free trade area, but I'm also afraid that if someone imports fish from maybe China and is trading with maybe Uganda, can't Uganda now have the right to rebrand that product as Ugandan fish and maybe sell it to Kenya and then flood the market with a lots of imported produce that can be rebranded as African produce? I have a lot of fear when it comes to that. How will we guard against that? how will we protect our markets? Because those people are actually doing production at a much lower price than us. And we in Africa, we are doing business at high cost. We don't have power. We have infrastructures are broken down, logistics issues. We really still need to learn more. We need to listen more. We need to also be critical and understand what this is going to bring for us on table, and if it will destroy us completely. So we are open-minded, but putting it in mind that we should not just do things. We should have policies that can protect us. And I am trusting the governments. I know things will be better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So
yeah. Sure. Thank you, Lovin. And actually, you've raised several concerns that I think our colleague Emmanuel from the Policy Network actually is probably taking note of, as well as the other representatives here from Afcfta connected bodies, and also Madame Generose from East African community, which obviously represents the East African bloc at the Afcfta. So couple of concerns that I noted. One is just the crippling cost of production, and how that makes it impossible for you to compete, and also the fear of what policies will be put in place to ensure that actually certificates of origin are genuine certificates of origin, so that if a product is an African product, it has, it is certified as an African product, and if it's coming from elsewhere, it's not repackaged as being of African origin and then selling at a lower price, which would obviously undercut your prices in the market. So we take note of that, those couple of issues, Lovin. And then what I'd like to do is actually bring the conversation back to what we were talking about in terms of East meets West, because our real ambition is to see that actual trade takes place. And even though this is sort of the initial meeting, this is the initial forum, but we hope that in subsequent meetings to this, we're going to have very active conversations around what can be traded between the two sides of Africa. One of the things I keep on thinking about personally is, if we're all growing the same things, how are we going to trade? Like what can we trade that would actually be, something where we have a competitive advantage? What can we trade that would be sending to West Africa something that they don't have from East Africa, and from East Africa something that they don't have, getting something that we don't have in East Africa from West Africa. And so we're hoping that these conversations will actually come out of this networking opportunity that we're providing. And that being the case, I heard one of the ladies who introduced herself is engaged, I think it was Patricia, is engaged in processing value-added fish. And also on the Uganda side, or the East Africa side, I think, Lovin, you were the one voice that also expressed fish as being your area of interest, or the product that you produce. I think what would be interesting is to see, from the people on the call, are there individuals who are on the West Africa side who are interested in setting up or beginning to explore or beginning to have conversations with the East African side, and the reverse from East to West? Do we have any such interest in the room, or are people still looking at sort of exporting within their region, within the ECOWAS region, within the East African Community region? Do we have some interest? And is anyone on the call able to say, yes, I have something that I would like to export, or I would like to import something that I've heard somebody mention?
Okay, so Dorothy, I'm going to translate.
Yeah.
So it's mainly for fish business, right?
No, I quoted them as an example. I saw fish from Nigeria, fish from Uganda.
Okay.
So how do we treat? Yeah.
Donc, ok, donc Madame Touré, je vois que vous êtes intéressée. Alors, Madame Camara, je sais également que vous êtes parmi nous. Dorothy, justement, vient de poser une question. C'est que pendant la conversation, quand tout le monde s'est présenté, on a remarqué que, par exemple, qu'il y avait plusieurs personnes, plusieurs femmes présentes ici, qui étaient, par exemple, très impliquées dans le domaine du poisson, que ce soit la transformation du poisson, la vente du poisson. Et il y a également d'autres personnes qui sont très impliquées dans le secteur agricole également. Et là, la question, c'est de savoir qui, en Afrique de l'Ouest, que ce soit Nigeria, je sais qu'il y a Sénégal, Côte d'Ivoire, seraient intéressés pour être connectés avec des personnes qui sont en Afrique de l'Est dans ces secteurs-là. Et je vois que Madame Touré, je vais vous mettre vous demander d'allumer votre micro et peut-être pour nous en dire un peu plus. Sorry,
okay,
Dorothy. Yeah.
Thank you. You want me to talk now?
Oui, vous pouvez.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, you know, I worked I've been working for 6 years in Ethiopia, coming from Côte d'Ivoire. So I know that the link between West and East is not really good for business mainly. We don't share a lot. So really I'm interested, what I'm doing now in Côte d'Ivoire is about sharing skill, building capacity, training sessions. It's not about goods, but I want to export and to share with the whole continent, not only to focus on my region, but there are trainers there. We can partner, we can do a lot more than just focusing on my region. So that's the point. It's not about goods. If you were talking about goods, no, that's not my mind. But I know many women in the group I lead where they are interested in sharing, for instance, share better, other stuff with Eastern parts. But for me personally, it's mainly about capacity building. That's the point. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's great, and thank you for expressing that, Karine. And yes, somehow we always tend to talk about goods, but services also are included. So absolutely, and I know that there are going to be lots of opportunities for partnership with people who are training in sort of other fields of that are represented on the East African side. So yes, please do not feel excluded. My apologies. I also see here Patricia is also saying that she's interested in export. Patricia, you were the processed fish and also lots of different kinds of flour. Do you want to say a little more?
Okay, so I'm going to ask you to unmute. Okay, so I think it's Madame Camara who is not muted. So Madame Camara, vous voulez dire quelque chose? Because I heard some noise. I think it comes from Madame Camara. Si vous parlez, on ne vous entend pas. Okay, I think that she's still dealing with some issues.
Okay,
Madame.
Go ahead.
Yes, Patricia, I asked you to unmute, so I don't know if you received the prompt. Okay, probably not.
Okay, no problem. I think just because it's a little awkward and it's a little stiff because we're doing this for the first time, but I like what I'm seeing in the chat. Hildegard exporting baskets from Southern Africa, specifically Zimbabwe. And then I see here Lillian, yes, I'm interested in exporting healthy seed from Tanzania. I think what I would actually suggest is if you have if you could just put your name and the product that you would be interested in exporting, plus your email address. I think what we can do, Miriam, is we can actually do some small database, and we could actually start sort of taking this conversation further, but offline, not necessarily under the umbrella of this call, although it's part of the BizConnect, East meets West, and we'll just keep on following it offline because there are a few things that we need to connect that we're not able to connect here on the call. So I would invite, if you could translate into French, I would invite people to just put their name and their product that they want to export from which country, and also their contact information, and we will be able to manage that logistically.
Ok, alors, thank you, Dorothy. Donc, vu que il y a des problèmes techniques pour qu'on puisse entendre tout le monde, on n'entend pas tout le monde, il y a des problèmes de connexion. Est-ce que vous pouvez inclure dans le chat, vous allez voir en bas de votre écran, il y a une petite icône où c'est écrit chat, ou en français, c'est probablement discussion. Si vous pouvez inclure votre nom et également le produit ou le service que vous offrez, ainsi que vos contacts. Et ce qu'on va faire, c'est que nous allons tout consolider dans un document pour pouvoir connecter tout le monde et organiser une autre session juste sur ce sujet-là pour pouvoir créer des opportunités d'affaires pour les personnes qui sont présentes ici. Merci.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Miriam. I see, Lovin, your hand is up. Is it your old hand or is it a new hand?
I think it's a new one.
It's a new one, Dorothy.
It's a new one?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to inform you that much as we are in the same fish business, like I'm saying, it's there's a lot to learn from each other. Like I actually know Patricia, she has been to my country, I have been to her country. There is a lot of knowledge sharing and exchange, technology transfer to better our businesses. We need to do learning from within ourselves. We need to exchange technology, like advanced technology, in order for us to compete globally. Because we are not trading just as Uganda, I trade mainly to compete on the globe. And for me to be also the fish, or maybe the African market is like one big supermarket. We have people moving from West Africa to East Africa as expatriates, and they would still want to eat the food from their home countries. So we should having to learn how to do preserve West African foods for expatriates working within the East African area. All those are opportunities that women should embrace. And I think we should not just be scared to explore and to learn, and also to expand our skills, and to also learn from others, how they brand their products, how they do their recipes, in order for us to be able to fit, or to be able to supply all the clients without lacking a lot of things. So that is something that I would love to share as well. Thank you.
Great, great. Thank you, Lovin. And thank you also for reminding us that it's not just about the trade itself, but there are other forms of exchange that can take place in terms of learning, in terms of shared experiences, and all this. So this is also very well noted, Lovin. Thank you for that submission. I also see Emmanuel's hand is up. Emmanuel?
Yes, thank you very much. I think probably the last part has proved to be the most exciting and most practical, because people are looking to connect. So thank you very much for that. I think I should also stress that one of the things that I do on my day job is I'm also responsible for outreach. And so I'm always on the lookout for how to greater connect to the continent with the experiences that I have brought to the policy network. I can tell you, as someone who has been managing a platform on East Africa called East Africa Rising for 8 years now, since 2014, that it's a platform that brings together 23 countries across East, Southern, and West Africa. And so the platform has primarily been used for connecting professionals across these countries. And I can tell you that there are a lot of commonalities between East and West, and much more than we think. So it's a shame that they're not connecting
as much as we'd like to see them. What I can tell you though, that practically, that recently a Kenyan friend pointed me to a Kenyan lady who is making Kenyan chocolate. Okay, now West Africa, Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire are supposed to be the the big players of cocoa, and therefore you would have expected them to be doing more of the cocoa across the continent now that we have Afcfta. But here we have a Kenyan lady deciding not to engage West Africa. And my friend tried to explain to her about Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, which she's obviously aware of. One of the reasons why she explained she was not using Ghanaian cocoa was something negative, which we do know, but it's not the reason for which Ghana cocoa must not be used. Is that there's issues around child labor, which is something that I don't think we can ignore. Those are things that at the policy level must be addressed. Nonetheless, you have Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, and we even now have a Ghana-Cote d'Ivoire diplomatic representation in Accra seeking to bring Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire together. That was established last year. So here's this Kenyan lady who has traveled extensively across Europe, who has come back home and is choosing to make Kenyan chocolate without considering West African chocolate. Even if you have problems with Ghanaian cocoa, there's also Cote d'Ivoire cocoa, but it's not even looking at Ghana cocoa. What she's doing rather is sourcing, the pods from Tanzania, and then Uganda, using Ugandan pods as well to eventually process the cocoa, and then the output is in Kenya. So it becomes a Kenyan chocolate, but with inputs from Tanzania and Uganda. There's no West African involvement at all. This is not the best thing at a time that we are in Afcfta. And I think we need to change these kind of conversations, even if there are misconceptions about how certain countries do certain practices around certain products. I think we must be a little bit more, accommodating about what we can do and understand why Afcfta is here. It's here so that we connect in ways in which we have not been able to connect before. This leads me to my final point. And I think, Dorothy, this is something I'm sure you can relate to, about why the conversation on migration is important here, because the freedom of movement is so critical at this stage. West Africa and East Africa are two regions that do freedom of movement at the regional level extremely well. You're able to move in East Africa from Kenya to Uganda so very easily and across the region. And in West Africa, like I said earlier, we've been doing it since 1979. So what I can tell you is that the way forward has been for those migration experts at the UN, International Organization for Migration, to seek a way to bring West Africa and East Africa closer together to champion the benefits of free movement of ordinary people. Because we're talking about people who want to export products from Zambia to Zimbabwe. I have a friend in Malawi who has relatives in Zimbabwe, and yet she needs a visa from Malawi to get to Zimbabwe, which is a SADC member country. SADC has had the freedom of movement protocol running since 2005, but it is not fully operationalized. So even at the regional level, in the SADC region, there are challenges where women who may want to export goods from one part of the border to another are challenged by the simple fact that they need a visa. Visa is yet another, stumbling block. It's a barrier to free movement of goods, capitals, and services, which are the cardinal parts of any integration project. So what I'm trying to say really is that let's try and connect the conversation also on how we can put pressure on our member countries. I know Zimbabwe has not signed or ratified the Freedom of Movement Protocol. Many of the countries who are represented here have not. And I have to say that even my own Ghana has neither signed or ratified the Freedom of Movement Protocol. And I think we need to take this conversation a little bit further. If we really want women to be as emancipated as we claim, then we need to also kind of put pressure, find a way to bring in that conversation of making it easier so that every woman has the right of residence, the right of establishment, and the right to, of settling in a member state, which is what these are the three principles that the Freedom of Movement Protocol is promoting in the way that it has been doing for ECOWAS and for EAC as well. And we need to get to that conversation. Otherwise, you will continue to have those stumbling blocks where Zambians want to export goods to Zimbabwe. And before you know it, they have to find $30 for a visa to cross the border. So that is where I'd like to land, that as part of the takeaway, as we're talking about East and meeting West, these are some of the things that we can think about. And final thing is on cocoa. I think East Africa is very big on coffee. So for West Africans who may not have been thinking about, what we can value addition thing that you can do for coffee, I think East Africa is a good market for that. So any East Africans who are into cocoa processing, coffee processing, I think this is a time that we can have that conversation where we can connect as well. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much, Emmanuel, for that submission. And I think the beauty of having several associations represented on this call is because we see the value of what associations can do and the value of many voices joined together to actually create pressure, the pressure that you're talking about in terms of moving policymakers to make some of those pronouncements and actually implementing some of these policies and onto implementing the protocols. So I think that's something we'll put down on the list for our participating associations as they talk about, as we talk about associations being able to influence the AFCFTA agenda, this freedom of movement and all the rights that go with it, really, I think is something that will certainly come to mind. I'm conscious of the time. I'm looking to see if we have any other hands up. And Miriam, is it we have 10 more minutes?
Yes,
9 more minutes now?
No, we have until 45 actually.
Until 45? Okay. All right. That being the case, perhaps what I would like to propose, as mentioned earlier, is that we will do offline follow-up on the information that's being posted in the chat in terms of what people are interested in doing. And I personally am very committed and very keen to seeing something come out of this, because we want to prove that actually AFCFTA on the ground is working. It's not just a theoretical conversation. That being said, I think, is there anyone on the call who has actually been involved in some kind of export across to another region of Africa? And would you like to maybe share with us what you hope the AFCFTA will do to change what you've been experiencing as a regional exporter at this time? Just opening the floor. We'll hold the floor open for a couple of minutes, and if no one jumps in, we'll change the question. So the floor is open. Anyone who's been exporting, and how do you see AFCFTA addressing the issues? One of the challenges that you've been facing. And this is in export of goods and services. So while you think about that, somebody's trying to speak. I don't know if it's Patricia.
I think it's Patricia probably, but we can't hear you properly.
Hello.
Maybe if you stop the camera.
Sorry, we cannot hear anything. Could you type it in the chat, please?
Yeah.
Okay, and I see the list growing.
Let me see if I can.
Yes, I think now we
hear.
Now we hear you.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay. I have supplied United Nations through a third party. Somebody from UK came to me, and I did the supply, and it went through the routes to Niger, to Mali. But you have a situation whereby en route, maybe at an end, they tell you the document you have presented is not enough. And from here, you have already collected all, from your country, you have collected all the documents needed on the route to get to its destination. 2, we have not been given, the women have not been given opportunities in United Nations to supply food. There are rifts in Africa. Rift in Africa for women to supply food to the regions in Africa where they can use this food. And the women are working. They can form all sorts of associations to get the right things done. But there's difficulty. It's either you are not connected or the person connected is such a partial something, I don't know what word to use. But we have to make a strong feel that United Nations must collect food from Africans to supply African countries who are in need of the food. From there, you can take it to their country, but for now, we need to go into the African countries, supply foods, and get things done. And we do things rightly. We have lab analysis, we have everything, we have hazard certificate, yet we are not making progress in markets. So it's a very big issue that I want us to use this opportunity to solve. I have registered with United Nations. They keep posting send seed. I told them I want the food part. I have ready-made packets food for you to just do and give to refugees or whoever. But we are not being given that opportunity. And it's a large opportunity for each country in Africa. There's rift, there's somebody who would have to prepare the food for the person. And all these things has to be coordinated to make things work out well and for us to be healthy nations and have wealth. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. This is a really, really good point. I mean, up until now, I don't need to yes, now, I mean, it's true that I didn't even think about where the food for, refugees was sourced. So, I mean, that's a very, very good point. And Dorothy, I don't know if you're muted or not, but that's also, we can probably follow up on that particular point. This is a very concrete, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Miriam, and thank you, Patricia, because you're talking about procurement. And I mean, some countries have done some things within their governments around procurement and how they can increase the, shall I say, contracts that are available, call it some kind of affirmative action, a procurement process. But also countries have requirements around local content and what contribution that makes to sort of the contracts that are being issued or the bids that are being put out there. So we take note of your concern, Patricia, and certainly, as Miriam was saying, this is a sort of a very concrete and very specific request around procurement, recognizing obviously that there are, I guess when these bids go out, there's certain parameters that they're looking for, and also recognizing what Lovin said earlier about how expensive our things are simply because of all the cost of production is really quite high. So it could be that bids are not competitive, or it could be that there's something else going on, but certainly we thank you for this.
There's something else going on, because I did that supply.
Yes.
I did that supply, so I know what is going on. When you produce for them, they are happy to take it and cook it and eat it very well. But in between the lines, the people at the receiving end want a kickback from whoever is the supplier who is giving the contract to supply.
So you're talking about transparency also, yeah.
And 2, if you supply them something, they must be able to certify that that thing has been supplied. They can use what you have supplied before to debar you from supplying again because they found something, but there is nothing they find in it. It's just a way of, you cannot confirm it yourself. As long as at the receiving point, everything was received intact and everything was okay, it should be accepted. So I think there's a link that is not proper on the West African or whatever part of the world it is going to. Give to Africans, the Africans food. We are ready to produce it. We have done all the tests. We have done everything. Give us the opportunity to supply. And then you to give the other people the opportunity to supply the other way around. That way we can crisscross and understand each other because we eat almost the same similar food.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yes, Patricia. So your concerns are noted, and also we're going to see how to incorporate this, and certainly it will be documented in the list of specific requests that came out of this this conversation today. Great. Okay. Let's see. So any other individual would like to say something about their experience trying to export across the region? And
I see Lovin posted something in the chat, and she's referring, to visa fees, COVID-19 testing costs, and also currency fluctuations as well. And another, I would say, it's a long-term probably inquiry, a harmonized currency to ease the trade within Africa.
Yeah, okay. So, yep, noted all of those. Thanks, Lovin. And also we have this exciting payment platform that's being piloted in West Africa, and hopefully this is the beginning of a payment platform that will actually allow individuals across the continent to be able to trade without concerns about you know, how I'm going to go exchange my get the foreign currency that I need to make that purchase, and this kind of a thing. So yeah, your concerns are noted, and all these non-tariff barriers we're noting as well. Yeah. Lovin, thank you. Okay, the floor is open for other contributions or observations from anyone who has exported services or goods across the region, and what your hopes are in terms of Afcfta being able to solve any challenges that you've experienced. I don't know if there's need there for French translation, Miriam, before we move on.
Okay, actually, yes, that's a good point. So, est-ce que des personnes dans l'audience ont des questions sur les obstacles que dont vous avez fait l'expérience quand vous avez essayé d'exporter dans d'autres pays africains, que ce soit en Afrique de l'Ouest ou dans le reste de l'Afrique d'ailleurs. Donc, si vous avez des retours d'expérience et des exemples d'obstacles que vous voulez partager avec nous, vous pouvez lever la main, et pour le faire, vous appuyez sur réaction en bas de votre écran et vous levez la main électronique que vous allez voir. Okay, so.
Okay, looks like it's silence. Then I think what we'll do now is just really open the floor to just any comments that participants would like to make in connection to either the session today or anticipations or expectations coming out of Afcfta. So the floor is open.
So I can probably share what Madame Camara shared, because she I don't know, she has an issue with her audio, so she was on the phone with me. So basically what she was saying is that, they want to expand the market, and it's very similar to what most of the participants shared here, that it seems to be easier for them to export to Europe or the US than East Africa. So I think her hope at least is to with the Afcfta to be able to export her products in Eastern and Southern Africa as well. So that's from Madame Camara. And I can see that Emma, I don't see your surname, raised her hand. So I'm going to ask you to unmute. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, please, you can go ahead. Emma?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'll bring my concerns, what I see about AFCTFA.
Okay.
Well, we all know about the agreement. We are all trying to align ourselves with this and trying to ease our business in cross-border trade. But I see a lot of seminars and a lot of events happening in the West Africa. And we're in East Africa. I'm in East Africa, actually East Africa, Tanzania. And I think we're left behind a bit, or maybe we're not getting a lot of information because we are very far from maybe the headquarters or something. But I would just propose that we should get more seminars and trainings within the regional bloc, Tanzania. I know even if you speak to the French-speaking countries in West Africa, they know very little about Tanzania. This is what I've experienced in the past. So we need to expand our sharing of knowledge between the continent, especially the regional bloc within the sub-Sahara and the Western countries. It even establish more friendly business grounds. When I say that, meaning like if a woman is in Ghana, wants to export in Tanzania, the hassles she'll go through is difficult. And when it's in Senegal, it is worse than that because so even going to Senegal, even the flights, it's very difficult. You have to go through three airlines. So this is logistics, communication, finance, is helped out, meaning to clear some of the issues. This need to have more discussion on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
For me, hello.
Sorry, Patricia, before you come in, let me just thank Emma. Hi, Emma, for that submission. And we note the point. I think the truth is we don't know a whole lot about each other, and that's true. So we note that point. And also we note that you're on this call today, but we also have on this call Tanzania Women Chamber. We have the East African Women in Business Platform. We have Uganda Women Entrepreneurs. So we've got some representatives from Kenya as well. So the conversations are beginning, Emma. Don't you worry, the conversations are beginning, but I think more, you want to do business with people whom you know. Typically, people want to do business with people they know. So very important, I think, for us to start that flow and interaction happening. So it's noted. Thank you, Patricia.
Yeah, what I see is apart from you want to do business with people you know, the fact remains that there should be an organization whereby it is ruled that if you are into fish or flour products, it is needed in this country. This person in that country will be my distributor. But it is not just a distributor for the sake of being a distributor. We have to do a trade. I give you some goods, you give me some goods, so that we'll not exchange, oh, they need this is how it is here, this is how it is here. Because that information is missing. The information of what they need there and what I need from, for instance, from Tanzania, I like their smoked fish, but they are not smoking it right. I wish to show them better way of doing it because they do a lot of salted fish. So I have a variety of fish in Nigeria I can give to them and get their own. But the cost is a little bit on the high side. But there's a middle way we can stay together and say, okay, let's discuss, let's get this here. So it is better for us. So when the women are trading in bits like that, it makes things better. And we can now from there know each other. All this plenty English on, let's do a WhatsApp. The WhatsApp is there, we can listen to it, but we have to see it in the markets, in the reaction, so that we now know the errors, we'll now correct, take some 10, 20 people from Nigeria or 5 people from another country who have the same goods. Okay, send these goods to this person, let the person pay back, and then you can do intertrade. But most of the webinars, the people that are coming up are government representatives. And government representatives just talk things, they don't do the work. We need people who will do the work to enable us understand that this trade is really going on. That is the main thing. Trade between me and Loving. Say, Loving, have this fish, you give me your own. I try to market it there, you try to market my own there. Then we can work things together. That's the best way things can go on. Without that, it is difficult because the person you are talking to, just imagine, let's just talk and go. It's not talk and go, it's a real business. We must be able to interact properly. Get a house whereby you have sent goods to somebody and then this is my feedback, this is how well this thing did, this is how well this thing did. These are the things we need to enable us come out strongly, not just talking about it and feeling it as if it's a point. That's the way I feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. And you've kind of expressed the exact reason why we're having this particular session that we're calling East Meets West, because we want it to be practical. And we very much like what you said, because I mean, when I've spoken to a lot of people, women entrepreneurs in Uganda who have products that they are not exporting, and they say, well, my products are ready, my products are certified, I'm not exporting because I don't have a distributor. Who, if I get these things to the other country, who is going to sell them? How are they going to be bought? You know, so you raise an important point there, and that is actually what we're going to try and effect through this forum, because we want to show those practical case studies of when we tried to move fish from Uganda to Nigeria. These are the real challenges that people had, and these are the problems you need to solve in order for this trade to continue. But also, I like the point about the practical exchange, which supports also what Emma was suggesting. There has to be a way that the Afcfta goes beyond just the trade to this relationship building, but also learning, the peer exchange, and this kind of thing. So we note your points, they're very well taken. And I'm looking at our time. I see there's a couple of things in the chat. I see somebody, Dabney, we need to bridge information gaps and utilize the Congo River, especially since Congo DRC now belongs to both West and East. We keep wondering, I mean, everybody keeps on telling East Africa that DRC is the next big, well, when I say East Africa, now DRC is part of East Africa. But since DRC joined the East African community, everybody's talking about, okay, there is the next market in DRC, but how are the things going to get there? That's the question. So this river, the rivers, we note your submission there. Also, we note, Emma, what your suggestion there as well about the directory. We're documenting all these recommendations and suggestions, and they're going to be in the report that comes up from this meeting. In the interests of time, I'm going to express my personal thanks to everybody who's participated in this very interesting, I think, discussion. I think what we've started is going to snowball into something much bigger. We're going to do some work offline, and if we have your contacts, you're going to be kept in touch and kept updated on progress, as well as, where do we go from here? When is the next session? Okay, I want to turn it over to Miriam.
Thank you, Dorothy. And I'm just wondering whether the Executive Secretariat for Afcfta in Côte d'Ivoire is on the call, because the closing remarks are from the Afcfta Côte d'Ivoire. So, okay, I know that one of, so I'm going to switch to French. Monsieur Zou ou Madame Zou, Ange Zou, je vais vous demander d'ouvrir votre micro. On se demandait si la secrétaire exécutive était présente pour faire le discours de clôture. Est-ce que vous êtes là? Monsieur Zou? Monsieur, oui. Madame, c'est monsieur?
Monsieur, c'est vous.
Oui, merci d'être en communication avec nous. En fait, dans notre programme, il y a un discours de clôture de Madame la secrétaire exécutive.
OK.
Et je ne pense pas, je pense qu'évidemment, elle a dû se déconnecter pour commencer sa journée ce matin. Donc, je ne sais pas si elle va se reconnecter, ou si ce n'est pas le cas, est-ce que vous... enfin, déjà, est-ce que vous savez si elle va se reconnecter ou non pour le discours de clôture?
Non.
OK. OK. Dans ce cas, est-ce que vous pourriez peut-être faire ce discours au nom de la ZCAF ou du comité?
Alors, n'ayant pas reçu
En
l'instruction.
ça a besoin d'être un discours, mais en quelques mots, ça peut être très, très succinct. Et je vais faire la traduction.
Peut-être que je passerai le micro à ma responsable communication, peut-être le nom de
D'accord.
Madame la secrétaire exécutive.
Est-ce qu'elle est connectée? Okay, so I'm just inquiring to see if... Oui, Monsieur Zou? So we're just inquiring about the person who's going to give the closing remarks for the representative of AFCTA in Côte d'Ivoire. Okay, so let's wait a little bit. So please bear with us. And Monsieur Zou, je ne sais pas si vous parlez, mais vous êtes sur mute. Votre micro est fermé.
Madame Carlius?
Oui.
Excusez-moi, j'essayais de rentrer juste en contact avec la responsable de la communication.
Communication, d'accord.
Oui, qui a convenu au nom de Madame la SP prononcer ce discours de fin.
Elle a convenu de faire quoi?
Elle a convenu à prononcer au nom de Madame la SE les mots de fin comme vous l'avez souhaité.
Ok, donc c'est-à-dire qu'elle va se connecter, c'est ça?
Oui, oui, c'est cela. D'un instant à l'autre.
D'accord, merci beaucoup.
Je vous en prie.
Okay, so, okay, great. So I think the representative, the executive secretariat of AFCTA is joining us for the closing remarks. Est-ce que c'est Madame Bois? Je vois qu'il y a Madame Bois qui vient de se connecter.
Allô, oui, bonjour Madame Myriam Parichet, plutôt Madame Nguesson, responsable communication du
ok. Madame Nguesson, ok. Bienvenue Madame Nguesson.
Désolée, on avait eu un souci de connexion.
Non, mais il n'y a aucun problème.
D'accord.
Est-ce que vous voulez, vous allez faire le discours de clôture?
C'est juste des mots.
Ok.
Pas vraiment de discours. Donc,
Okay.
Bonjour chers participants.
Donc, si vous pouvez parler doucement parce que je vais faire la traduction. Comme je vous disais, on a un problème de traducteur.
D'accord, il n'y a pas de problème, c'est compris.
Okay. Vous pouvez vous mettre, allumer votre caméra.
D'accord.
C'est possible, oui, ce sera plus agréable, je pense. Okay, so we're going to have the closing remarks, a brief closing remarks from the executive secretariat of AFCTA in Côte d'Ivoire. And so I asked Mrs. Nguesson to switch on a video, but it's that. On ne vous voit pas, donc je ne sais pas s'il y a un problème.
Ah bon?
Oui, c'est quoi ça? On a un écran noir en fait. Est-ce que vous n'avez pas,
désactiver la caméra
ou même mis quelque chose sur la caméra physiquement sur l'écran?
Non, normalement, il passe normalement. Bon, c'est pas bien grave, on va essayer juste de faire le mot. Puis ça ne dérange pas, bien sûr.
Il n'y a pas de problème, allez-y.
D'accord. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. Au nom de Madame le secrétaire exécutif du CSDK, du Comité national de la zone de libre-échange continentale, nous tenons à vous remercier pour votre participation à cette première édition de Business Connect 2035.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Je vais traduire ce que vous avez dit. On behalf of the Executive Secretariat General of the Committee in charge of the AFCTA in the Ivory Coast, we would like to thank you for your participation.
Nous espérons que les échanges ont été enrichissants et que chacun de nous a pu cerner quelles étaient les opportunités de la zone de libre-échange continentale africaine.
We hope that the conversations were fruitful and that each of us were able to identify opportunities within the AFCTA.
Nous espérons que l'engagement du secteur privé sera réel afin de permettre à chacun de nous de tirer pleinement profit de l'accord de la SDCAF.
We hope that the engagement of the private sector will be active, and so that the private sector can benefit from the AFCTA.
Sur ce, nous restons disponibles pour tout besoin. En ce qui concerne tout besoin d'informations sur la mise en œuvre de l'accord de la SDCAF en Côte d'Ivoire. Vous pouvez vous référencer à nos contacts sur les réseaux sociaux. Nous avons également un site Internet qui est pleinement opérationnel, qui vous permettra d'avoir des informations sur les différentes activités du CNSDCAF.
So we remain available for any information that you might have on the implementation of the AFCTA in Côte d'Ivoire. So you can find the details of the representative of the AFCTA in Côte d'Ivoire on their website and also on social media. So Madame Bois.
Oui, allez-y, bon, Madame Nguesso, allez-y.
Oh, pardon, Madame Nguesso, est-ce que vous pouvez également mettre dans le chat
D'accord, attendez,
le
de
site,
discussion,
etc.
c'est ça?
Oui, le site
Okay.
de la ZCAF et
d'accord,
pour les
je le fais
participants.
rapidement.
Est-ce que vous avez d'autres choses à ajouter?
Non, juste merci et bonne fin de journée à vous.
So thank you very much and have a
Donc,
nice
je
day.
mets le lien du site.
So Mrs. Nguesson is going to add the website of the AFCTA in Côte d'Ivoire in the chat. So if I mean, we're going to follow up with this conversation, obviously. And in the meantime, if you have some opportunities to export from your region to Côte d'Ivoire, you can have all the details, particularly logistics and customs on that website. Thank you.
Okay, merci.
Merci, Madame Nguesson. So I think Toyin, Emmanuel, Dorothy, and myself, I think it was a privilege to have you with us today, and really for the engaging conversations. So as Dorothy mentioned, this is just the beginning of the conversation, and we took a lot of notes of all the concern that you shared and the opportunities and the possibility to cooperate. And we also have your contact details, and we definitely follow up on that conversation to create actual trade between our region. And as I was mentioning at the beginning, all the regions were represented except Central Africa. So if you do trade with women or men, we're not going to exclude the men, in Central Africa, please share the details with us, because we will follow up on that conversation. And I just see someone called Consolata who just joined and raised her hand. So maybe you might have the last word and then we will conclude. Consolata? Can you hear us? Hello? Okay, we can't hear you. So if you can share in the chat, because we are wrapping up. So Dorothy, Toyin, Emmanuel, would you like to say maybe a last word before we end?
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you, Miriam, and your team for coordinating this maiden edition. We are very excited by the prospect of something more practical coming out of this, and the last session has proved to be very exciting, and a lot of people are interested. I think what we need to do is continue the good work of sensitization of Afcfta, and I think I've come to the realization that women are a lot more practical on these things around Afcfta than the men. So it's good to listen to a lot more women's views on how we can move forward with Afcfta, I think that the men will learn a lot more. So thank you very much for this opportunity to tune in into what women have to say about Afcfta, practically, frankly, so that we can bring that on board to make sure that policy change happens the way it needs to, a lot more quickly than it sometimes does. Thank you, and have a good.
Thank you, Emmanuel. So Toyin.
Yes, thank you, Miriam, and thank you, Emmanuel, and to Dorothy. It's been enlightening to listen to you wonderful ladies and gentlemen on this platform, and we really do hope that you'll engage with us with some of our activities and even engage with us offline with other potential opportunities. It's been really enlightening to see that Africa is on the go, and then has made an addition that there will be several more. And I do think the conversation needs to continue. I do think we have to desensitize people to show them that Africa is really about them. People on the ground with real needs and real challenges that we can hopefully start looking at solutions for. So thank you all, and I'm looking forward to connecting afterwards.
Thank you, Toyin. Dorothy?
Yes, and really nothing more for me to say apart from, okay, my camera can't come on, but no worries. Very, very excited about the conversations that we have started here today, and just wanting to encourage everyone who's been on the call to stay tuned for what's going to come next, because we've only just begun. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. So I think on that note, we wish you a great afternoon, and maybe beginning of the afternoon if you're in Eastern Africa, I guess. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.
Merci.
Bye-bye.
Well, and we will stay in touch. We'll be in touch.
Yes, please. And Miriam, can I just
Thank
ask
you.
that
Bye-bye.
the notes are captured as well? There's quite a few things that were in the notes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.